deadly mobile game. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 401 Soul Shadow Stone. 12 soul life also means that he has 4 soul balls, and the pets he can summon and the spells he can use are much more and more powerful than Jin Ke. 6 soul life, 2 soul balls. How did you kill her? The paralyzed man also checked Jin Ke's information and asked Jin Ke in a strange way. It seems that as long as the battlefield of the gods is turned on, both sides can see each other's soul life and other basic information, which is not a unique function of Jin Ke's plugin. I said I didn't kill her, and I don't have the ability to kill anyone at all. I just want to kill a few monsters here quietly and make some money. Don't waste your time on me, brother. Go catch the real murderer. Let's stop fighting. Jin Ke applied for a strike to the paralyzed man. Well, it seems that I did blame you wrongly. However, you made me waste so much time investigating you, and even tried to deceive you and delayed my time to catch the real murderer. You must compensate me. The paralyzed man proposed to Jin Ke. Brother, how do you want to compensate? Jin Ke asked the paralyzed man. Oh, I don't need too much, just your life. Anyway, your worthless life is not worth my time, but since the loss has been done, I'll try to recover as much as possible. Well, now you understand what's going on, and you can go die. After the paralyzed man finished speaking, the first round of the battle officially began. He hit Jin Ke with a black ice bullet, and immediately reduced Jin Ke's 6 health points to 3. Brother, can't you only use 1 soul ball in the first round? Why can you use 2? Jin Ke asked the paralyzed man, and then summoned a buoyant flying insect. The second round began. Do you want to know? It's very simple. The one standing here is not my real body, but a soul shadow stone. It's only my soul shadow that is fighting with you. The soul shadow cannot launch normal attacks. If my real body is here, there is no need to bother to start the soul battle. I can kill you in 1 skill. And I am using a blue soul shadow stone, which can allow my soul shadow to use 1 more soul ball per round than my real body during the battle. Well, now you know the truth. You can die with peace of mind. After the paralyzed man finished speaking, he threw a spell called Fire Stick at Jin Ke. Jin Ke's soul life was reduced from 3 points to 0 points. Fire Stick, consume 3 soul balls, cause 3 points of damage, and then there will be an extra Super Fire Stick in the spell library. Super Fire Stick also consumes 3 soul balls, but can cause 6 points of damage. Although Jin Ke has 0 soul life, he is not dead. Sorry, big brother, I'm not dead yet, so I fought back. Jin controlled the soul flying insect to attack, and at the same time sent out a black ice bullet, reducing the 12 soul points of the paralyzed man to 8 points. At the beginning of the third round, Jin could only use 2 soul balls, but the paralyzed man could use 4 soul balls. Interesting. You also have a dual soul body? Okay, I'll play with you for another round. The paralyzed man was a little surprised, and then threw a black ice bullet to kill Jin Ke's soul flying insect, and then he used his life spell to knock off a little of Jin Ke's soul. Although Jin Ke had 0 soul points, he was still alive. After hesitating for a moment, Jin Ke summoned another soul flying insect and also summoned a white giant falcon. In the round when the white giant falcon is summoned, a soul-related secret technique can be summoned without soul balls. Jin Ke thought for a moment and cast a secret technique of Samadhi Fire on himself. Once the paralyzed man summoned a pet, Samadhi Fire could kill his pet and damage his body at the same time. The fourth round began. The white giant falcon is a pet captured by our family from a secret realm. You happen to have one too, if I guess correctly. You killed her and got it from her, right? Humphrey, you are not just a dual soul. The voice of the paralyzed man became cold and stern. After a brief thought, the paralyzed man thought that the secret technique that Jin cast should be mana dispersal based on his combat experience. So the paralyzed man summoned a giant red eagle and placed it in front of him in a show of force. Jin's secret technique Samadhi Fire was activated, and 3 of the 6 damage points killed the giant red eagle, and there were 3 extra points, which reduced the paralyzed man's 8 soul points to only 5 points. Jinke's 2-point attack of the white giant falcon and the 2-point attack of the soul power flying insect after rising attacked one after another. At the same time, he also released his life spell Soul Spear on the paralyzed man. A total of 5 points of damage just cleared the 5 soul points of the paralyzed man. The paralyzed man did not die. The 5th round began. Humphrey, good fight. The paralyzed man's soul life became 1 point. He used a basic healing spell to raise his soul life to 3 points, and then used another basic healing spell to raise his soul life to 5 points. After 2 basic treatments, the paralyzed man threw another fire stick over, killing Jinke's soul power flying insect, and at the same time, a life spell cleared Jinke's 1 soul life to 0. Jinke was quite surprised. He originally thought that the battle could end in the 4th round, but he didn't expect that this paralyzed man also had 2 souls or multiple souls. No wonder the evil woman recognized Jinke as a dual soul when she tried to kill him. It seems that there is also such a multi-soul body in her family. This is a big trouble. Jinke controlled the white giant falcon to attack the man with facial paralysis again, reducing his soul life to 3 points. At the same time, his life spell was activated, reducing the man with facial paralysis to 2 points. The 6th round begins. The man with facial paralysis killed Jinke's white giant falcon with his life spell, and then controlled the red giant eagle to peck away 1 point of Jinke's soul life. Jinke did not die, and only his life spell was left, reducing the man with facial paralysis from 2 points to 1 point. The 7th round begins. It seems that she was indeed killed by you, you multi-soul monster. Wait, my real body will bring people to kill you soon. The man with facial paralysis seemed to know that he would lose, and began to threaten Jinke with words. You won't find me. Jinke's life spell was activated again, clearing the paralyzed man's 1 soul life. The battle is over. Congratulations on your victory. The paralyzed man's soul life was cleared, but his soul did not explode. Instead, it turned into a light blue crystal and fell to the ground. Jinke breathed a sigh of relief. If the paralyzed man had a few more healing spells, he would probably have died at the hands of this paralyzed man. Picking up the light blue crystal on the ground, Jinke got the information about this light blue crystal. Chapter 402. The 4th floor of the maze. Blue soul shadow stone. After being placed somewhere, it will automatically hide in the air. It will be activated after setting certain conditions. After reaching certain conditions, it can be remotely controlled to transform into your soul shadow clone to start the battle of the gods for a soul battle. This soul shadow stone is a blue quality item. When you carry it with you for a soul battle, you can use 1 more soul ball per round. The transformed soul shadow clone can also use 1 more soul ball per round in a soul battle. This thing is good. With this thing, even if I only have the 2nd level of energy, I can still summon the red giant eagle. I can even use powerful spells with 3 soul balls. Jinke was very happy after seeing the description of the soul shadow stone. With the help of the red giant eagle, Jinke was even more powerful in the battle of the gods. It's a pity that the paralyzed man didn't come in his original form, otherwise he could have harvested a white giant eagle and a red giant eagle and several useful spells. However, if he came in his original form, he might not necessarily initiate a soul battle, and he might just kill Jinke in a normal battle. According to what the paralyzed man said, he was leading people to teleport here. Because the teleportation takes a certain amount of time, his real body has not appeared yet. It is not advisable to stay here for a long time. Jinke must leave as soon as possible. Jinke took off Jimingan's sunglasses, took off the nightmare mask and put it on his face again, chose Xuan Yuanming's face, and transformed into a masked beauty. I don't know if the paralyzed man can recognize him again after the man turns into a woman. This evil woman and the members of the family of the paralyzed man seem to be very bloodthirsty and perverted. Jinke thinks that even if he turns into Xuan Yuanming, it will be difficult to escape their clutches after meeting them. If he teleports away, it will be too late. If he escapes back to the 2nd floor, the 1st floor, and escapes from the maze, it will be difficult to escape the pursuit of the paralyzed man and his companions. After they know that he is a multi-soul body, they will definitely not be stupid enough to start a soul battle with him. and they should directly attack him. If Zhang Mingdai teleports him to the nightmare maze, all the treasures on him will be thrown here, including the soul shadow stone he just got. He didn't want to escape this way unless it was absolutely necessary. In order to avoid being hunted down by the family of the expressionless man, wouldn't he never be able to come to the Dongling Mountain maze again? It was so infuriating. Jin Ke didn't provoke them, but he somehow became enemies and was hunted down. The plugin suddenly marked a green arrow on the ground, as if reminding Jin Ke that it was time to leave. Wouldn't the plugin be activated for no reason? Was it pointing him to the correct escape route? Jin Ke didn't think about it anymore, and immediately followed the plugin's instructions and rushed in the direction indicated by the arrow. It seemed that there were indeed no other monsters on the third floor except for the alien insect boss. Following the plugin's arrow, more than 10 minutes later, Jin came to an abandoned building. After entering the abandoned building, he saw a group of black fog. The teleportation array of the maze. This is the teleportation array to the 4th floor of the Dongling Mountain maze. The plugin asked him to continue to the 4th floor of the maze. In or out, Jin Ke recalled that every time he did something that would put his life in danger, the plugin would find a way to stop him. This time, the plugin took the initiative to let him go to the 4th floor of the maze. It seemed that the plugin thought that going to the 4th floor of the maze was the best way to avoid being chased by the paralyzed man. Go in. After a trance, Jin Ke was teleported to the 4th floor of the maze. After entering the 4th floor of the maze, Jin Ke had a feeling that he had mistakenly returned to the real world. Isn't this the real world? The bustling streets, pedestrians on the street, and the endless stream of vehicles on the street. Walking to a newsstand, Jin Ke looked at the newspapers on the newsstand, and the dates on them were actually the same as the dates in the real world. The newspapers include Mengdu Daily, Mengdu Evening News, etc. Mengdu, which city's abbreviation is Mengdu. Jin Ke thought carefully, but soon confirmed that there was no such city in the real world. A man passed by Xue'er Yuanming and looked back at her. Seeing her good figure and beautiful big eyes, he was immediately attracted to her and couldn't even walk. Handsome, can you lend me your phone? Jin Ke shouted to the man. Hearing his own voice, Jin Ke felt very uncomfortable, but after hearing Xue'er Yuanming's extremely sweet voice, the man seemed to be soft in his bones and hurriedly took out his phone and handed it to Xue'er Yuanming. Jin Ke picked up the phone and dialed the numbers of several people he knew. There were 2 prompts that the numbers were invalid. One of them got through, but the voice was obviously not the person he was looking for, and when he asked about that person, the person on the other end said impatiently that he had dialed the wrong number. Does this mean that this is not the real world? The 4th floor of the Dongling Mountain maze is a simulated real world. The setting of this maze is very innovative. The question is, where is the boss on the 4th floor? How to pass the level and go to the 5th floor? The plugin did not give any instructions, and it seems that it is still under analysis. The space on the 4th floor looked very large, and the analysis of the plugin should take a long time. During this period, Jin could only rely on himself. Beauty, how about having a cup of coffee together? The man asked Xue'er Yuanming after taking the returned phone. Okay. Jin took off his mask and grinned at the man. Oh my god, help, what the hell? The man was horrified and took several steps back and fled. Is it that serious? Jin snorted and put on his mask again. At this moment, a green indicator arrow appeared on the road under Jin's feet. It was obvious that the plugin was activated. It had analyzed the location of the teleportation point from the 4th floor to the 5th floor and was helping Jin to point the way. Jin walked along the green indicator arrow. After walking for more than 10 minutes, he felt something was wrong. This road is too long, right? Is it going to cross the entire city? At this moment, a convertible sports car of a brand that Jin had never seen before. It might be a luxury car in this world stopped next to Jin. A man wearing designer clothes and sunglasses whistled at Xue'er Yuanming on the roadside. He looked like a rich second-generation beauty. Do you want a ride? The man in sunglasses approached Xue'er Yuanming. Will you take me to where I'm going? Jin asked the man in sunglasses. Of course. The man in sunglasses opened the door and let Xue'er Yuanming get into the sports car. Go that way. Jin pointed the man in sunglasses in a direction. No problem. The man in sunglasses increased his speed, but because he was on the city road, he didn't dare to run too fast, but at least it was much faster than Jin Ke walking by himself. Although Jin Ke had an alloy exoskeleton, it seemed too ostentatious to take it out in a place like this. Since someone was willing to give him a ride for free, there was no need for him to be polite, right? Chapter 403 Giant Tree. Where do you want to go, beauty? Just tell me. No need to point like this, the man in sunglasses asked Xuan Yuanming after Xuan Yuanming pointed the way several times. I don't know either, just follow the route I point to. Jin Ke shook his head. Interesting. The man in sunglasses glanced at Xuan Yuanming, adjusted his sunglasses and continued to drive according to Jin Ke's instructions. Jin Ke looked at the man in sunglasses with sympathy. Why didn't the man in sunglasses help other pedestrians on the road? Why did he come to help Xuan Yuanming? He must have some crooked idea in his mind, right? When Xuan Yuanming took off his mask and faced the truth, tears would definitely fall. Are you going to the same place as me? After walking for a while, the man in sunglasses looked at Xuan Yuanming strangely. Oh, Jin Ke did not comment. Beauty, you don't need to point the way. I will go by myself. If the route is not right with you, I will point it again. The man in sunglasses proposed to Xuan Yuanming. Okay. Jin Ke was also a little surprised. Could it be that the plug-in helped him find a driver? Sure enough, the man in sunglasses drove all the way, and the route was completely consistent with the green arrow instructions of the plug-in. Jin Ke did not speak to give directions. 20 minutes later, the sports car arrived at the end of this journey, the place where the man in sunglasses wanted to go, and also the place indicated by Jin Ke's plug-in. At the end of this journey, Jin Ke saw something that was unlikely to exist in the real world, but it might exist. But Jin Ke had never seen it. A giant tree hundreds of meters high, with a trunk that was so thick that it took dozens of people to hug it. Jin Ke subconsciously turned on the blood volume detection, and the results showed that the blood volume of this giant tree was about 400,000, and its soul life, it was actually 90 points. This thing, can't it be the gatekeeper boss of the 4th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze? Are you here to see the giant tree? The man in sunglasses took off his sunglasses and asked Xuan Yuanming. Well, I heard about it and came to see it. Jin Ke glanced at the man in sunglasses and found that his HP was 113, which was a relatively strong ordinary person. I wonder if these humans will mutate, turn into zombies, black corpses, etc. This giant tree is an asset of our company. Tomorrow we will develop a new project for the giant tree, so that it can once again create a new height for the entire Dream City real estate industry. The man in sunglasses looked very proud. Project development? When Jin Ke came over just now, he had already discovered that the trunk of the giant tree was full of scaffolding, and it should be undergoing some kind of construction. Well, our new project will cost 800 million yuan, but it will eventually create at least 3 billion or even 5 billion yuan in profits for us. The man in sunglasses was even more proud. What new project? Jin Ke was a little surprised. The humans in this dream city seemed to not know how to protect the environment. If such an ancient tree were in the real world, it would definitely be protected as a cultural relic. No matter what, real estate developers would not be allowed to develop it commercially, right? This is a commercial secret, so keep it secret for now. A tree that has lived for so long might have become a spirit. Aren't you afraid it will get angry if you do this? Jin Ke seemed to have guessed how he came back from the 4th level of the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth. It was probably because human activities angered the giant tree, and the giant tree's spirit awakened and prepared to destroy the world. The plugin guided him here to tell him in advance where the puzzle of this level of the labyrinth was. As a human, Jin Ke must save stupid humans and perform a boring plot of a hero saving the world. However, whether it is 400,000 horsepower or 90 soul life, it is not something that Jin Ke can handle now. Unless some special means are used. Ha 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 ha. Beautiful woman, these trees can get angry. By the way, beautiful woman, you came here not just to see the giant tree, right? Do you want to apply for our project department? If beautiful woman is interested in applying, I only need one condition to recruit you to get our senior position and high salary. The man in sunglasses looked at Xuan Yuanming. What conditions? Jin Ke was interested in learning about their new project. which might be related to how to complete the task on the 4th level of the Dongling Mountain Maze. Just take off your mask and let me see your peerless beauty. The man in sunglasses looked at Xuan Yuanming's beautiful big eyes with a curious expression. Such beautiful eyes and such a graceful figure, she must be a peerless beauty, right? Oh, I'm afraid I'll scare you to tears. Jin Ke felt a sense of evil. Haha. Beauties are really good at joking. Just take a look. Just take a look. The man in sunglasses became even more curious. Jin Ke hesitated whether to scare the man in sunglasses away. After a moment, he took out the extremes will turn into reverse sunglasses and put them on his face, then took off his mask. Wow! The man in sunglasses looked at Xuan Yuanming with his eyes wide open. Seeing the reaction of the man in sunglasses, Jin Ke wondered in his heart. Could the extremes will turn into reverse sunglasses also work on Xuan Yuanming? Jin Ke subconsciously took out the mirror Yun Zongshu gave him from the storage space and looked at Xuan Yuanming in the mirror. As expected, he has become a beautiful woman. Beauty, marry me. I want to grow old with you. I am willing to share all my wealth with you. The man in sunglasses actually knelt down in front of Xuan Yuanming with a thump. There happened to be a little girl selling roses passing by, and the man in sunglasses grabbed all the roses in the little girl's hand and presented them to Xuan Yuanming very attentively. You just promised to let me be a senior executive of the company. What new project are you going to launch tomorrow? Jin Ke asked the man in sunglasses. We are all family, so there is no need to hide it from you. We are going to dig a hole in the trunk and build a luxurious tree house. You should know that the area where the giant tree is located is very expensive. The price of normal buildings has reached 70,000 or 80,000 per square meter. The luxurious tree house is unique and the price can be sold for at least 200,000 or even 300,000 per square meter. The man in sunglasses looked very proud. Dig a hole in the trunk, the tree will die, right? Jin Ke frowned. Beauty, you are an outsider, right? Haven't you heard the saying, a shameless man is invincible, but a tree without bark will surely die. Trees transmit nutrients through bark. A tree will die without bark, but a tree can still live well even if its trunk is hollowed out. Everything we do has been proven by experts. The man in sunglasses looked down on Xuan Yuanming's statement. Yeah, that's right. Jin Ke nodded. Indeed, a shameless man is invincible. In the future, our love nest can be built at the top of the giant tree. In the morning, we can sit on the branches to watch the sunrise, and in the evening, we can sit on the branches to watch the sunset. How romantic it is. The man in sunglasses looked like he was caught in a beautiful fantasy. Chapter 404, Invulnerable. Jin Ke rolled his eyes. By the way, beautiful lady, let's take off our sunglasses and take a group photo together, shall we? The man in sunglasses suggested to Xuan Yuanming. Okay. Jin Ke took off his sunglasses. Oh my god. What are you doing? The man in sunglasses was horrified, staggered back a few steps, and sat down on the ground. Sitting on the branches together to watch the sunrise in the morning, and watching the sunset on the branches together in the evening. How romantic. Jin Ke walked towards the man in sunglasses. No, help, ghost. There are ghosts in broad daylight. The man in sunglasses fled in panic. The premise of romance is still to be beautiful, otherwise, it's a lie. Jin Ke laughed a few times with a bad taste. After scaring off the man in sunglasses, Jin Ke continued to approach the giant tree. When he tried to attack the giant tree, he got a system prompt saying that he had to wait 20 hours before he could start attacking the giant tree. Before that, the giant tree was immune to all attacks. After finding a secluded and deserted place, he recorded the location on the teleportation stone and teleported himself back to the number 18 dormitory area of the base. After returning to the number 18 dormitory area, Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai to teleport him to the Nightmare Castle. Jin Ke bought another 70 empty bottles in the Nightmare Castle pharmacy. Then he returned to the number 18 dormitory area and spent 2.1 million energy points to make 70 super enhanced fire bombs. 2.1 million energy points used up all of Jin Ke's recent savings. The 70 super enhanced fire bombs were of course used to deal with the giant tree. The giant tree had 90 soul points, and Jin Ke estimated that his multi-soul body would never be able to defeat it, but its 400,000 health points could be dealt with by about 67 super-enhanced fire bombs. There were more than a dozen super-enhanced fire bombs on hand, which could be used to deal with abnormal situations, such as in case the 67 super-enhanced fire bombs failed to deal with it. The giant tree has 400,000 horsepower, which is 200,000 more than the alien insect boss. It is conceivable that its attack power should not be weak. With Jin Ke's current strength, it is not enough to fight this giant tree alone, but because of his experience in the Nightmare Castle, he can take advantage of the situation and spend a huge amount of money to create a large number of super-enhanced fire bombs to knock down this boss at one time, ending the adventure on the 4th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze and going to the place where the time and space merchant appeared on the 5th floor. After the production of 70 super-enhanced fire bombs, Jin Ke took a nap. After waking up, Jin Ke teleported himself back to the giant tree near the mission location on the 4th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze. More than an hour later, he finally received the mission issued by the 4th floor maze. What made Jin Ke speechless was, the mission was not for him to kill the giant tree boss, but for him to protect the giant tree so that the giant tree could survive for at least 5 hours after the battle. The mission start time countdown was half an hour. After half an hour, the giant tree suddenly came to life. The ground where the entire Dream City was located began to tremble. Fortunately, the buildings were highly earthquake resistant, so people only felt the earthquake, but no buildings collapsed. The giant tree shook its body, shook off all the scaffolding on it, and then pulled out its roots, which were tens to hundreds of meters long and hundreds of meters long, from the ground, and turned them into its feet, and slowly walked away. As the giant tree walked along, its roots, as hard as steel cones, trampled on everything and destroyed everything. Buildings along the Dream City collapsed one by one under its trampling, and the streets were full of people desperately running away and all kinds of cries. The whole scene was like watching a disaster movie. Soon, dozens of fighter planes flew in the distance, firing various missiles at the giant tree. Each missile that hit the giant tree could knock down more than 10 points of its health. Ground troops also began to gather, and tanks, combat vehicles, and army missile vehicles also launched attacks on the giant tree from the ground. The giant tree waved its branches, attacking the planes and tanks that were like flies and ants to it, but its attack range was very limited, and it was difficult to hit the planes that were attacking it with long-range missiles. But it could occasionally sweep the tanks and chariots that were too far ahead on the ground, lift them into the air, and then fall heavily to the ground. After the first round of aircraft launched the missiles they carried, they flew back to the airport to reload. At this time, the second round of aircraft would come up and launch the missiles they carried at the giant tree. Some missiles flew from the ground silos in the distance, bombarding the giant tree one by one. Isn't this just a low-profile version of Avatar? Jin complained. There are missiles everywhere. If we keep fighting like this, the giant tree can't hold on for 5 hours. Isn't the mission I took going to fail? Jin felt that he should not just complain here, but should take the initiative to do something. The problem is, what can he do? He can't fly, so he can't shoot planes in the sky, go to kill those tanks and missile vehicles in the face of artillery fire, stab with a dagger. They don't have chrysanthemums. Jin quickly thought of something he could do, and it was the best way to get the job done. That was to destroy the airport, the missile base, and make it impossible for these planes, tanks, and missile vehicles to replenish their ammunition, which would greatly delay their draining of the giant tree's health. After Jin thought of this, the plugin really marked 10 locations on his vision map, including 2 airports, 4 missile depots, and 4 large missile silos. There's nothing to think about, just get there as soon as possible. Jin put on the black leather armor. The black leather armor should be able to defend against ordinary gun and artillery attacks, right? Jin went to a military airport first. As soon as he approached, he was stopped by several armed sentries ambushed nearby, warning him that the front was a military restricted area and he was not allowed to go any further. A ball of green mist was thrown over, and several sentries fell to the ground. Beyond that, there was an outer defense surrounded by barbed wire, and there was a sentry box at every distance, with snipers arranged on it. How to play this? Bang! With a muffled sound, Jin Ke felt as if his head was hit by something, and energy sparks flew everywhere. Fortunately, although he was shot in the head, and it was a sniper rifle, Jin Ke found that he was safe and sound. The durability of the rune leather armor was reduced by 1 point, but the total durability of this set of leather armor reached hundreds of thousands, so the bullet attack was like a tickle. After being convinced that he was invulnerable, Jin Ke felt relieved. He quickly rushed to the barbed wire outside the military airport, took out a dagger and slashed it, easily cutting a big hole in the barbed wire, and then crawled in. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 405 Full-Style Operation. The sound of sniper rifles came one after another. Jin Ke didn't know how many bullets he had received along the way. Anyway, the durability of his black leather armor had lost dozens of points. Stop, we will shoot if you dare to come forward again. A fully armed infantry team surrounded this side with assault rifles, and the leading officer shouted at Jin Ke, "Haven't we already shot?" Jin Ke did not retreat but advanced, throwing a ball of green mist over, knocking down several infantrymen who were shrouded. Then he rolled on the spot, and the black bow in his hand shot out an energy wave, instantly knocking down several infantrymen in the same line. The health of these ordinary soldiers was very low for Jin Ke, and they were all within the range where he could kill them instantly. In addition, their attacks did not pose a threat to him. Now when Jin crushed towards them, it was like a tiger entering a flock of sheep, and he did not encounter any decent resistance at all. The plug-in gave a green arrow instruction at the right time. Jin Ke followed the green arrow and killed all the enemies along the way. He rolled over and passed through the wall at high speed and soon arrived at the end indicated by the green arrow. Here is a heavy fighter with a twin engine and twin tail layout, 20 built-in missile bays, 4 external attachment points, a maximum bomb load of about 20 tons, and a machine gun with 100,000 rounds of armor-piercing bullets installed. The pilot was about to board the plane to participate in the battle, but of course he was killed instantly by Jin Ke, who rushed over, and his body was also put into the storage props. Jin Ke passed through the wall so fast that no one else at the scene even noticed that the pilot was killed and his body was hidden. The meaning of the plugin is very clear, that is, to let Jin Ke drive this fighter and carry out precise strikes on 10 targets from the air. The problem is, Jin Ke basically has no experience in driving a fighter. If he has any experience in driving in this area, it is in the games he has played. But since the plugin has brought him here, he can only force the duck to the shelf and show off. After entering the fighter, what Jin Ke didn't expect was that a fighter driving plugin was automatically turned on in his field of vision. Various operating points appeared in Jin Ke's field of vision in the form of R. As long as he performed full-style operations, he could successfully drive the fighter out of the airport and start various battles. Under the guidance of the plugin R method, Jin Ke followed the instructions, checked all instruments and avionics system devices, pretended to be a pilot to request flight, started the engine and began to taxi. The fighter entered the runway, accelerated and pulled back the joystick to take off. Then the landing gear was retracted, and the target was determined and switched to automatic driving. During the flight, Jin Ke suddenly deviated from the course under the instructions of the plug-in, entered the low-altitude cruise mode, hid his figure in the area below 200 meters on the ground where the signal was extremely noisy, and quickly approached one of the targets. Low-altitude flying is very difficult, but with the help of the plug-in, everything is not a problem. A few seconds later, the first target location, which is the airport where Jin Ke was just now, entered the range of Jin Ke's missiles and was locked. Under the instruction of the plug-in, Jin Ke launched an air-to-ground missile and hit the airport accurately. The heavy fighter flew past the small mushroom cloud rising from the airport, and then flew close to the ground to the second target, a missile silo. A large number of fighters were deployed in the war between Mengdu and Jushu. Although some ground crew members noticed that one of the fighters disappeared from the communication and radar and reported it to their superiors, The superiors did not have time to deal with the matter at this time, and it was impossible to send a large number of personnel to find the missing fighter. It was just that the communication system had a malfunction. Just when the ground in Mengdu did not react, Jin Ke quickly completed the bombing of the 4 target locations. The bombing caused panic on the ground in Mengdu, but they finally reacted and sent fighters to search for the rebellious heavy fighter. Jin's cooperation with the plug-in became more and more proficient. Although he was driving a heavy fighter, he always maintained an altitude of less than 200 meters, which made any reconnaissance means other than visual ineffective against him. This directly made the fighter planes that came to try to besiege Jin Ke regress to the primitive era of using vision to lock the target for attack. In order to be able to see and find Jin Ke's fighter plane, the fighter planes that were besieging him had to lower their own altitude. With the help of the plug-in, Jin Ke made various detours around the city's buildings, and each time he successfully detoured behind the enemy fighter plane, and then fiercely shot the enemy plane's chrysanthemum with the armor-piercing shells of the onboard heavy machine gun. One after another, the enemy planes had their wings broken, their fuel tanks blown up, or the fighter pilots were directly shot and exploded into fireworks. The feeling of blowing up the fighter plane and then passing through the exploding fireworks is so cool, so exciting. After a dazzling fight, Jin killed several fighter planes that were besieging him and approached the next target point. Another missile was fired, and a small mushroom cloud rose from the 5th target point. Jin had played flight games on his computer with a controller before, but he had never enjoyed it so much as this time. He didn't expect that he would have the opportunity to play a VR version of flight combat in the game Horror City. After fighting again and again, Jin gradually mastered the combat skills of the fighter under the guidance of the plug-in, which made him more comfortable in operating the fighter. Of course, when flying at low altitudes, he still had to rely on the plug-in to help him avoid some fatal threats to the aircraft most of the time. For example, air currents, such as tall buildings. The most deadly threat is the air-to-air missiles launched at him from high altitude by the enemy aircraft that surrounded him. But because Jin's flying altitude was extremely low, these missiles were subject to a lot of interference, and their accuracy was greatly reduced. Moreover, the plug-in always made Jin make quick turns and other actions in a timely manner, so that these missiles attacking him finally fell on the buildings near Jin, or directly hit the ground. Half an hour later, all 10 target locations turned into 10 small mushroom clouds under Jin's flying show. All missile silos were silenced. All airports lost their ability to take off and land. All missile depots were blown up. The number of fighter planes in the sky was decreasing as they were trying to capture Jin, until there was not a single one left. After losing more than 40,000 horsepower, the giant tree finally stabilized, and it continued to move firmly in a certain direction. The defense of this dream city was obviously simple and deformed. After Jin cleared 10 target points, it basically lost all its ability to counterattack. Is it so easy to complete the mission? Jin flew the fighter plane freely in the sky. It can't be that simple, right? Jin did not receive a prompt that the mission was completed. Chapter 406. It must be an illusion. Sure enough, it was not that simple. Just when Jin flew over the city center, he saw the ground in the city center shaking violently, and a hill rose out of thin air. It was not a real hill. When the ruins of the buildings and the soil on the hill fell off, Jin found that a giant Gundam, hundreds of meters high, had actually emerged from the ground, or maybe it was a giant armed robot. After this thing came out from the ground, it immediately chased after the giant tree. At the same time, the heavy energy cannons on its arms also launched a fierce attack on the giant tree. In addition to the energy cannons on its arms, there was also a missile launcher behind it, which fired various future technology missiles from it and bombarded the giant tree. Each energy cannon could take away hundreds of HP of the giant tree, and each future technology missile could take away thousands of HP of the giant tree. If it kept hitting like this, the giant tree would soon die. Of course, Jin would not let this happen. He immediately controlled the fighter and fired several missiles at the giant armed robot. The damage caused by the missile to the giant armed robot was very limited, only a few hundred points, and Jin's health plugin had already detected that the giant armed robot's health had reached a huge 600,000. It was a modern city just now, and it became a future science fiction in the blink of an eye. Isn't this style changing too fast? After the giant armed robot discovered the fly above its head, Jin Ke, it immediately fired an energy cannon at Jin Ke and a missile at the same time. Jin Ke's extreme operation avoided the energy cannon, but he could not avoid the attack of the future technology missile. After all, this is just a 5th-generation fighter with similar technology to the real world. The technology of the giant armed robot below must be made of alien technology or future technology. The fighter was seriously damaged and could only glide after losing power. After the giant armed robot detected that the fighter had lost its combat effectiveness, it no longer paid attention to the fighter, but continued to chase in the direction where the giant tree escaped. At this time, the fighter that had lost its combat ability and power was just in the sky in front of the giant armed robot. The plugin gave a prompt, allowing Jin Ke to drive the fighter plane head-on into the robot's chest. Jin Ke instinctively operated according to the plugin. When the fighter plane was about to hit the extremely thick alloy chest armor of the giant armed robot, Jin Ke felt that the situation was not good. If it hit like this, wouldn't the plane be destroyed and the people on board be killed? Although he had black rune leather armor to protect his body, what if something happened? But at this time, Jin Ke had no time to change the direction of flight, and could only watch the plane crash into the chest armor of the giant armed robot. The plugin prompted that the distance between the plane and the chest armor of the armed robot was still 100 meters, 50 meters, 10 meters, and 5 meters. Jin Ke didn't have time to think about it, and immediately used a death assault plus a rolling assault to forcibly pass through the 5-meter thick alloy chest armor of the armed robot, and the whole person crashed into the main control room of the giant armed robot located inside the chest armor. Dozens of staff members inside looked at Jin Ke who had crashed in with astonishment. Or Xue'er and Ming to be exact, and even forgot what they were doing. No wonder I crashed in. So that's what happened? Fortunately, I reacted quickly and used 2 displacement skills in time, otherwise I would have crashed into its alloy shell. Jin Ke was extremely grateful. The next thing was easy. Jin Ke killed all the staff in the main control room, completely paralyzed the giant armed robot, and knelt on the ground with a bang. The system also popped up a prompt for the completion of the task. The giant tree gave you a bottle of life dew to thank you. Life dew. You can drink it 10 times in total, and each time you drink it, you can instantly restore full health and energy. The system also popped up a reward for Jin Ke's passing the level. Speaking of drinking, of course you don't have to really drink it, but just like using a skill, you just need to control it with your mind once, and it can be used 10 times in total. After a moment of trance, everything around Jin Ke changed drastically. He found himself in a primeval forest. This may not be accurate. This is a huge forest composed of countless giant trees. Jin Ke was supported by a platform made of vines and was lying there comfortably. After thinking for a while, Jin Ke understood what the 4th level of the Dongling Mountain Maze meant. He should have entered this huge forest as soon as he was teleported in, and then entered the so-called Dream City under the hypnosis of the giant trees in the forest. In the Dream City, Jin Ke completed the task of saving the giant trees and defeating humans, and even if he passed the level, he could get a bottle of life dew as a reward. If he failed to complete the task of saving the giant trees, would he be trapped in the Dream City forever? Such a result is really chilling. This huge forest is the real 4th level of the Dongling Mountain Maze, and the entrance to the 5th level should be somewhere in this forest. The plugin also gave a green indicator arrow on the ground under Jin Ke's feet in a timely manner, which obviously pointed to the entrance to the 5th level of the Dongling Mountain Maze. There were no other dangers in the huge forest, and with the help of the cheat, Jin Ke easily found the entrance to the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze. However, just when Jin Ke was about to enter the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze, he was blocked by 3 people. Jin Ke knew the leader, the paralyzed man. He really brought people here, and it seems that they have passed the 4th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze, and know the location of the entrance to the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze, and recorded it on the teleportation stone. So, they ran here to intercept Jimengen. However, Jin Ke is not Jimengen now. But Xuan and Meng, beauty, do you know this person? The paralyzed man took out a photo, which was a handsome guy Jin wearing sunglasses. I don't know when he took the photo secretly. I don't know him. Jin shook his head. Why do I feel like you know each other? The paralyzed man didn't believe Jin's statement. That must be an illusion. Jin denied the paralyzed man's statement, and at the same time he quietly used the skill Flying Swallow Possession. Flying Swallow Possession, Soul Skill. After activation, all attributes and skills of the body temporarily reach the peak state of S-level strongman when orphan, and the duration is 5 minutes. The skill cannot be upgraded. After the skill ends, enter a 24-hour weak state. All basic attributes become 1 point, and no skills can be used. Cooling time, 168 hours, cannot be reduced in any way. Health consumption, 99%. Energy consumption, 99%. After using the Fun Possession skill, Jin quietly drank the life dew. Chapter 407, Fight to the Death. The dew of life is really useful. After releasing the skill of Flying Swallow Possession, Jin's health and energy were only 1%, but now they are all maxed out. If there is no dew of life, Jin would not dare to use Flying Swallow Possession when facing the paralyzed man and his 2 companions. Although he has transformed into an S-level strongman, his 1% health value will still kill him instantly if he is not careful. 1% of energy also prevents him from using too many useful skills. It's different now, boss. I finally got here from the 4th floor today. I don't know who the person you are talking about is, and I don't know if there are other people who have entered here. I just want to continue exploring the maze now. Can you make way? Jin answered the paralyzed man. He is your companion, right? Oh, by the way, my sister must have been killed by you guys together, and you are also involved in this. If you don't want to die, then tell me the whereabouts of your companion. Otherwise, the 3 of us will kill you first and then kill you. The paralyzed man asked Jin. Xuan and Meng, boss, I really don't know what you are talking about. A good dog doesn't block the road. If you have nothing else to do, just get out of the way. I'll go first. Jin pointed to the teleportation point behind the paralyzed man. Why do I hear your words sound familiar? It's like I've heard it from another person. The paralyzed man looked at Xuan and Meng carefully. That must be an illusion. Jin shook his head. I heard that some people in this world can disguise themselves. Could it be that you are the person in my photo who has disguised himself? The paralyzed man finally seemed to remember something and continued to question Jin expressionlessly. This time, he was obviously not the phantom of the Soul Shadow Stone, but his real body. He ran to the entrance of the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze to guard Ji Mengan, to avenge the evil woman and retrieve his Soul Shadow Stone at the same time. You should know that the value of this Soul Shadow Stone is not low. It is equivalent to half a life. Okay, I am the person in the photo in disguise. Jin took off the nightmare mask in his mind, then chose Ji Mengan's face and put on sunglasses. It's you. You are really brave, and you still dare to stay in the maze. The paralyzed man showed some expression on his face, and he seemed to be a little surprised. He didn't expect Ji Mengan to show up. No, you are really brave. After your clone was killed once, you dared to come here to die. Jin answered the paralyzed man. It seems that we will fight to the death today. The paralyzed man and his 2 companions each took out their weapons. No, we will stop only when you die. Jin smiled. By the way, you should turn into a female body later, otherwise we can't kill you first and then kill you. The paralyzed man proposed to Jin. At the same time, the 3 of them launched their skills at the same time, and attacked the direction where Jin was standing at the same time. Jin stopped talking nonsense. He used a dispel skill to break the remote control skill of the 3 mages. Then he rolled sideways with a strong attack and shot out the bow and arrow in his hand. It just passed through the 3 men with the paralyzed face. 3 arrows with more than 10,000 damage appeared on the heads of the 3 men. If the weapon was not too bad, for example, if he changed to an S-level bow and arrow, the damage would be several to 10 times higher. This arrow would be enough to kill the 3 men instantly. The paralyzed man's face suddenly changed. When his Soul Shadow Stone discovered Ji Mengan, He used a string of runes in the Soul Shadow Stone to detect that Jimengen's strength was not even at level D. Now Jimengen's combat power is comparable to those of them at level 2B, but soon the face-paralyzed man didn't think so. After Jin Ke rolled and killed the 3 men in a row, he rolled again and sent out an enchanted arrow, which knocked down the health of one of his mage companions by more than 10,000, and also fixed the mage companion in place, so that he couldn't use his skills. This companion was just trying to release another control skill to freeze Jimengen. While sending out the enchanted arrow, a colorful umbrella flew out from Jin Ke's side, spinning rapidly with a diameter of several dozen meters. The paralyzed man was an assassin, and the other companion was a warrior. The two had to use displacement skills to rush towards Jimengen, trying to control Jimengen with control skills at close range, and then output crazy output to knock him down. Jin Ke had used the skill of Fian's possession in previous competitions, and had seen dozens of skills of Winner and Fian. He had also taken screenshots and recorded them and studied them carefully one by one. The colorful umbrella that flew out just now was not just for the visual effect, but a very powerful displacement skill that was difficult for the enemy to figure out. When the paralyzed man and his companion used the displacement skill to rush to Jimengen, Jimengen disappeared from the spot in an instant and appeared where the colorful umbrella was. He put away the umbrella and then rolled over and attacked. Another piercing arrow took away more than 10,000 health points of the paralyzed man and his warrior companion. The paralyzed man and his fellow warriors chased after Jimengen again, but the ground beneath their feet suddenly became muddy. Wenren activated a trap-type skill, Alert Swamp, which slowed down the two's movements. At this moment, the mage who had been fixed in place by the enchanted arrow had resumed his actions. When he was about to launch a spell attack on Jin Ke found another sunset afterglow from Wenren skill library, summoned a divine thunder, and smashed the mage from a distance. The mage was hit to a low health, and felt that something was wrong, so he turned around and fled far away. The paralyzed man's expression finally stopped being paralyzed, and he became a little nervous. This guy is too powerful, isn't he? He fought against 3 2B level masters alone, and they didn't even touch him? Could he be an S-level master? S-level master should have left this plane, right? Even if there is one occasionally, he will not come to the Dongling Mountain Maze, which is of such low level and only suitable for BBB level warrior trials. When the strength is far lower than that of the opponent, for the paralyzed man, it may be better to choose the soul battle method. When the soul battle is launched, it requires that there are no other humans or monsters nearby. If the paralyzed man did not bring his companions, now facing Jimengen who is stronger than him, the soul battle method may have a certain chance. However, now that the battle has begun, it is obviously impossible to choose again, unless he kills his 2 companions first. If he kills his 2 companions, without their help, he may not be able to defeat the one in front of him. And does he have hope with the soul battle method? The last time his clone fought with Jimengen, he didn't even measure how many souls Jimengen had. Chapter 408 Specimen. Mage, stop running. Warrior, take the damage. Mage, use your long-range control skills. I'll go around behind you. He's alone, and there are 3 of us. He can't beat us. The paralyzed man and the warrior got out of the quagmire and wanted to deal with Jimengen, but found that their mage companion was fleeing. The mage companion with low health hesitated for a moment. Just after a moment of hesitation, Jin Ke fired a super long-range shooter skill, Invincible Crocodile Cannon, and blasted directly at the mage with low health. Although this skill requires the use of energy weapons to exert its maximum power, the mage is already at low health, and the Invincible Crocodile Cannon only causes a few thousand points of damage, which is enough to knock the mage to the ground. Fuck. The mage fell straight to the ground before he could finish cursing. He turned into a corpse. The colorful umbrellas around Jin Ke began to fly around again. The paralyzed man's face turned pale. Without the mage, the opponent's various unpredictable displacement skills are so lively. What are they still doing? You killed my sister, and you killed our companions. This is simply unforgivable. You have taken advantage of me. Let's end the battle today, the paralyzed man said to Jin Ke. In this situation, they would die if they chased him, and they would also die if they ran away. so they could only declare ceasefire. At the beginning, I met the evil woman of your family. She told me that she would kill me no matter whether I handed over all the treasures to her or not. The difference was that I handed over everything honestly, took off all my clothes, and let her confirm that I didn't hide any treasures. Then she would give me a quick death. But if I resisted her orders, she would chop off my hands and feet, slowly peel off my skin, dig out my flesh, pull out my tendons, refine my soul, cut my sausages, and make me endure all kinds of physical and spiritual torture. Later, I met your clone. You know that the fight between her and me was not caused by me. You also know that she has a violent and bloodthirsty personality and likes to abuse the weak in a perverted way. You even guessed that after she saw me, she became interested in me and wanted to torture and kill me. But you said I was wrong. You said I was wrong because she wanted to torture and kill me, and I should just let her kill me. Why should I resist? I even killed her. Actually, I really want to know what kind of shitty family you are. Why are you so overbearing, so tyrannical, and so shameless? You said ceasefire, so ceasefire. What kind of shitty are you? Jin Ke was full of anger. While cursing, he didn't stop. He shot the companions of the paralyzed man on the spot with arrows, and shot the paralyzed man to a low health. Let me go. We can make a contract, and you can propose the conditions. My family and I will no longer pursue your responsibility, and our previous grievances will be wiped out. If you insist on killing me, not only will you get nothing, but you will also be hunted by our family. Our family has a powerful soul-searching technique, and you can't escape death even if you escape to the ends of the earth. The paralyzed man looked ashen, and he could no longer maintain his previous calm. I thought he was a newbie who was easy to bully, but he turned out to be a big boss who pretended to be a pig and ate the tiger. The paralyzed man's family has been hunting and wandering in the maze of Dongling Mountain for a long time. There is even a secret recipe in the family that can partially offset the binding force of the contract. At this time, the paralyzed man wanted to use this to deceive Jin Ke into signing a contract with him, and then find a way to find someone to kill Jin Ke. I'm not interested in your contract. If there are still people in your family who are willing to continue to come and give treasures, I will accept them all. Jin Ke replied to the paralyzed man coldly, and shot another arrow, hitting the paralyzed man to the point of death. You're done. You're dead. You dare to kill me. Do you know the consequences? I promise you will die miserably. The paralyzed man shouted at the top of his lungs. No matter how much you scream, you will die before me. Jin Ke's last arrow made the world quiet. The people in this family are really a bunch of garbage, and they are disgusting like maggots attached to the bones. First the evil woman, then the paralyzed man. Each one is more disgusting than the other. It would be more satisfying to kill such people. Jin Ke's skill time will soon end, and there is not much time to waste with them. After quickly collecting the equipment and various storage items of the three people with facial paralysis, Jin Ke had no time to check. While the fiend possession skill still had more than 2 minutes left, he quickly entered the teleportation point and teleported himself to the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain maze. After the fiend possession skill was released, Jin Ke would enter a 24-hour weak state. All basic attributes would become 1 point, and he would not be able to use any skills. If Jin Ke stayed on the 4th floor to teleport himself back to the base, it would take a quarter of an hour. He was worried that the people from the facial paralysis man's family would find it. Now the fiend possession state still had more than 2 minutes. Taking advantage of these 2 minutes of S-level power, he could quickly and safely understand the situation of the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain maze and find some useful information for continued exploration. 24 hours later, after a trance, Jin Ke was teleported to the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain maze. Like the previous floors of the Dongling Mountain maze, this floor is also an independent world. I don't know where the light came from, but it made the world very bright. It was clear everywhere. What surprised Jin Ke was that the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain labyrinth was actually a museum. There were all kinds of alien insects, specimens on display everywhere. They kept a certain action or expression, standing motionless in various places on the 5th floor of the labyrinth. The plugin quickly explored the teleportation point from the 5th floor to the 6th floor, which is where the time-space merchant will appear in the future. but the arrow indicating it was red. When Jin Ke was about to move forward along the red arrow, the plugin's red warning message appeared in the entire field of vision, telling him not to move forward. This is strange. What is it warning me about? Why is the path of the labyrinth red after exploring it? What dangers will I encounter if I follow this path? Jin Ke didn't dare to move forward, and stood there thinking hard. Will all these Zerg specimens come alive after I get close? With my current S-level skills, I might be able to pass the level easily. After these 2 minutes, it might be more difficult to pass the level. Jin Ke thought quickly. If I continue forward, there will be a red warning, so I will stand still and shoot a few arrows at the Zerg that are standing still. Wouldn't it be a solution to this problem if I kill them while they are standing still? Jin Ke took out the black rune bow and shot a rune arrow. Chapter 409 Cut. Unfortunately, he missed the standing Zergs, and they didn't react at all. It wasn't that he missed, but the rune arrow he shot turned into a suspended light dot about half a meter away from the body of the Zerg he wanted to shoot just now. Some kind of restriction, or a barrier? Jin Ke shot a few more rune arrows, and the result was that the rune arrows and the previous rune arrow formed several light dots to form a plane. Jin Ke continued the experiment and shot a few rune arrows to the side. The light dots formed by these rune arrows and the light dots formed by the previous rune arrows were all on the same plane. The situation seemed to be clearer. In front, that is, half a meter behind the Zerg closest to Jin Ke, there was a restriction. Jin Ke's rune arrows could not penetrate this restriction. The reason why the plugin blocked him and issued a red warning message should be this restriction. The rune arrows would be intercepted. If Jin Ke forced his way into this forbidden area, he might be burned to ashes, just like accidentally touching a high-voltage wire in the real world. Jin Ke looked far away and was surprised by the scene he saw. Some of the alien insects were completely off the ground and floating in the air. But what was even more bizarre was that there were still a small number of human warriors inside. The expressions of the human warriors in Jin Ke's field of vision were lifelike. Some were walking, some were running, and some were fighting, and their entire bodies were suspended in the air. Could it be that there was a zero-gravity area ahead? Jin Ke saw that there were humans trapped inside, so of course he would not rush forward. He looked around and understood why the plugin kept popping up warning messages. If he had just walked into this zero-gravity area, after the air lost its power, he would have been like these alien insects and humans, floating in the air forever and unable to move. But there was one thing that was very strange. If there is a zero-gravity area ahead, why haven't these alien insects and humans become dried up after being trapped in it for so long? For example, they have become mummies or something? In addition to humans, some debris can be seen in the air, bows and arrows, gravel, and occasionally minced meat and various rotten bones, all floating in the air motionless. Those minced meat and rotten bones still look very fresh. The time of Fian's possession skill has ended, but Jin Ke did not leave. He still stood there and kept observing. After observing for a while, Jin Ke found some patterns. For example, the width of the zero-gravity field in front of him should be only a few meters, about 3 meters, because all the alien insects, gravel, etc. are only concentrated in the area of about 1 to 3 meters from the light point where the rune arrow shot out just now. There is a large area 3 meters away where nothing can be seen, and the other trapped alien insects, debris and some humans are at least 10 meters away. This seems to mean that the width of this zero-gravity field is only 3 meters. As long as he forced through these 3 meters, he should be able to move forward for a distance. After passing through several such zero-gravity walls, he should be able to reach the teleportation point on the 6th floor, right? At the teleportation point on the 6th floor, Jin Ke can record the coordinates on the teleportation stone and then return to the base. When the time-space merchant appears, he can teleport here half an hour in advance. So, what should he do now? Death rushed through this zero-gravity area. Jin Ke certainly wouldn't be so reckless. He took a bug claw from the storage item and threw it into the zero-gravity area. The test results surprised Jin Ke a little. The bug claw did not pass through the 3-meter zero-gravity area due to inertia, but was suspended in the air, as if it had hit a ball of extremely viscous liquid and stuck the bug claw. All this obviously did not conform to Jin Ke's understanding of the zero-gravity field. Jin Ke took out a few worthless things from the storage space again and threw them to several other places. The result was the same as before. They were all stuck on the same plane as the rune arrow and the insect claw. If his death charge skill did not pass through this area, he would be stuck in this area forever like the thrown insect claw, and he might never be able to get out. Warning, warning, the maze is moving in space. Warning, warning, please stand still and don't move. Warning, warning, please stay in your original position and don't move. Warning, warning. A large number of red warning messages suddenly appeared in Jin Ke's vision. At the same time, the entire 5th level maze made a rumbling sound, and the motionless alien insects and warriors in Jin Ke's vision all moved. It was not them who were moving. Their bodies were still motionless, but the entire area that stuck to them began to move in various ways, moving forward, backward, rotating, separating. Jin Ke saw with his own eyes that one of the warriors leaning forward suddenly broke into 2 pieces, as if he was cut in an instant by an extremely sharp blade. Jin Ke could clearly see his cut internal organs and severed blood vessels. However, the blood did not flow out. If you look closely, some of the alien insects also had the same situation. With only half of their bodies left, they were cut apart during the maze shift. All this made Jin Ke feel a little creepy. It seems that the outcome of rashly running into these areas is quite tragic. With the maze shifting, the body will sooner or later be cut into several pieces. Even if there is a chance to escape from those restricted areas in the future, there will be no life left. Jin Ke stood there in the same position as before, not daring to move, and felt something was wrong. Could he have been trapped too? So he was like these trapped alien insects and warriors, not daring to move at all? No, these people don't have plug-ins. They can't be motionless because they received the prompt message of the plug-in. They are motionless for their own reasons. Forget it. I'd better teleport away from this extremely dangerous place. With the soul fighting method, I can kill bosses, evil women, and paralyzed men, and earn a lot of energy points. In fact, I don't need to go to the time and space merchants to buy soul-splitting potions, open up new professions, and compete for the rewards of the new king of each profession. Jin thought quickly while standing still. Time and space merchants. Time and space merchants. At a certain moment, Jin's mind shuddered, and he felt that he seemed to have grasped something. Why did the time and space merchant appear on the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze, instead of the 4th, 3rd, 6th, or 7th floors? There must be a reason, and this reason is the key to cracking all this. Chapter 410 Cracking Tools. The reason why the time-space merchant appeared on the 5th floor was because the 5th floor was a chaotic time-space. What is a chaotic time-space? For example, when time is fast-forwarded and flying at the speed of light, 1 second may be 1 year on Earth. Another example is that time slows down, becomes extremely slow, just like the slow motion in movies and TV, and it is an infinitely long slow motion. These fixed alien insects and warriors are not trapped in a zero-gravity area, but trapped in a slow-moving time field. The time field they entered was stopped or extremely slow, so that 1 second inside them would take 1 year or even longer outside. They felt that they were still moving, but the movement they completed in 1 second would take Jin Ke, who was standing outside, a year to stare at them. Therefore, in Jin Ke's eyes, they seemed to be playing the game of Wooden Man, motionless. This also explains why they did not become mummies. For them who stayed in the time field, time may have only passed for a few seconds. If Jin Ke hadn't been warned by the cheat, he would have been sucked into the time field without realizing it. By the time he had walked through this short distance of a few meters, decades or even hundreds of years might have passed in the outside world. Considering the connection between this game and the real world, Jin couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. After a few decades, wouldn't Xue'er be old? After hundreds of years, Xue'er would no longer be alive. After he returned to the real world, the world would have changed a lot. But he couldn't safely walk through this distance. The maze kept moving, and with the movement, these time fields kept splitting and recombining. During such a long time, I don't know when my body was cut apart while moving. It's conceivable that once you get stuck in it, it's bound to be a dead end. After more than 10 minutes, The red warning message in the field of vision stopped. The layout of the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze has changed a lot, but the direction arrow of the 6th floor entrance indicated by the cheat has not changed. It seems that the entrance to the 6th floor should be at the center of the 5th floor. In this way, no matter how the 5th floor moves or how the layout changes, Jin can find the entrance to the 6th floor as long as he finds a way to reach the center of the 5th floor. The space-time merchant is there. Should I take the risk to meet the space-time merchant? Jin has a hunch that the space-time merchant is likely to be related to the secret behind this game. Maybe the space-time merchant has a weapon that can reverse time and space. If he really has such a weapon, it would be awesome. I have already reached the 5th floor, and if I don't see the space-time merchant, I feel a little unwilling. Moreover, he has already understood the secret of the 5th floor. Jin guessed that these space-time walls that would stick people and alien insects in should also have boundaries and entrances, otherwise, wouldn't this become a dead maze? No one can reach the entrance to the 6th floor? This does not conform to the design concept of the maze. If, instead of treating these space-time fields as obstacles, but as a wall of killing, there will be no danger as long as you don't touch the wall, then, the 5th floor is just an ordinary maze. Jin gradually had a clear idea in his mind. Now, he only needs to find the wall to easily crack this level of the maze. However, there is no cracking tool he needs here. He needs to go back to the King Moss Mountain base to get through the 24-hour weakness period after the Flying Swallow possession skill ends, and bring the necessary cracking tools. One day later, Jin teleported back to the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze. Everything around him has changed a lot from before he left. The light spots formed by the rune arrows he shot earlier have long been moved to who knows where. I don't know how the teleportation point of the teleportation stone is marked, but one thing is certain, that is, the area where he is standing, that is, the small initial area he teleported from the 4th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze, is fixed. There should be many such fixed and non-dangerous areas in the maze. People teleported from the 4th floor will be randomly thrown into these safe areas. After standing there and waiting quietly for half an hour, Jin saw a lot of warning messages in his vision, reminding him not to move. The entire 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze began to move again. 10 minutes later, the maze stopped moving. Jin seized the time, reached out and grabbed a handful of fine sand from the storage space, and threw it in front of him and around. By the way, the cracking tool he found was the several tons of fine sand in the storage space, which he got from the construction department of the King Moss Mountain base. Because of the viscosity of the time wall, the fine sand thrown by Jin Ke immediately formed a thin fine sand facade after hitting the wall of the time wall, marking the wall of the time wall completely. Jin's cracking idea is very simple, that is, to catch up with the time between the two major movements of the 5th floor of the maze, and mark all the time walls on the road guided by his plug-in with fine sand. If you can't go, the fine sand will be stuck. If there is a passable door on the wall, it will be clearly marked by the fine sand. In a short while, Jin created several fine sand walls around himself. Sure enough, a door appeared on the wall in a certain direction. A door about 2.5 meters high, 1 meter wide, and 3 meters deep. Jin walked over carefully, and after passing through the door, he continued to throw fine sand around him, letting the fine sand explore the way for him and mark the distribution of the time walls and blank areas around him. I am so smart. This time I didn't rely on plugins. I got the 5th floor with my own wisdom. Jin was very proud. After the fine sand marked the time wall, Jin found that the 5th floor maze was really not difficult. To put it bluntly, it was a big room next to each other, a big room separated by a time wall, but there were passable doors on the time wall. As long as the fine sand was thrown densely, these doors could be easily found. 10 minutes later, Jin arrived near the teleportation point on the 6th floor. A few meters away, Jin could clearly see the black fog at the teleportation point on the 6th floor. The instructions from the plugin also ended there. The end was just ahead, and victory was within reach. However, a problem also arose. Jin found that the room he was in last had no exit except the entrance he came in from. Chapter 411 Time Wall. In this last room, There is no passage to the teleportation point on the 6th floor. There are only a few meters left. The fine sand marks the entire wall, but there is no passage to go on. This is a dead end. Is there a way to go around from another place? Jin quickly walked around the way he came from before. It turned out that the road he came from was a one-way street without any branches. Each room had only one passage to the next room. He walked here room by room, but was stopped by the last few meters. There is no way to get through. What is the problem? The area where the teleportation point on the 6th floor is located must be very stable. If he can't get through these last few meters before the next big move, Jin Ke will have to repeat everything he did before. How about using the death charge skill to get through these last few meters? Jin couldn't hold back this idea, but in the end, he stopped thinking about it. It's better to be safe than sorry. Death Rush can travel through space, not time. If he gets stuck in the time wall, it will be a big trouble. There must be other safer ways to get through. After going through the initial and final rooms several times, Jin couldn't help but feel a little desperate. He had marked all the walls of the rooms with fine sand, but there were no passages leading to other places except the passages between these rooms. His luck was too bad. The place where he was teleported from the 4th floor of the maze was a completely closed area. This was too ridiculous. Jin Ke looked at the entrance to the 6th floor of the Dongling Mountain maze, which was close at hand, and couldn't help but want to use the Death Rush skill to try to get through it. But what if he got stuck in the wall? This is a time wall, not a material wall. Death Rush can only travel through material walls, not time walls. It's a very simple truth. Can Death Rush travel to the past? Can it travel to the future? Then, Death Rush should not be able to travel through the time wall. Just give up like that? If he continued to stay here, once the maze began to move, he would most likely be passively drawn into the time wall and then cut into several pieces. He would not be able to cry when the time came. Jin Ke suddenly had an idea. He had a treasure that could try to use skills to cross the time wall on his behalf. If this treasure succeeded, he could try it himself. The Soul Shadow Stone taken from the paralyzed man. The Soul Shadow Stone could transform into an avatar. This avatar could not launch ordinary attacks on other people, but it did not say that it could not use displacement skills. It would be better to summon a Soul Shadow clone and try it. In case the Soul Shadow clone could use displacement skills, he could let it take risks on his behalf. Jin carefully checked the instructions for using the Soul Shadow Stone. It needed to be infused with 200,000 energy points before it could be driven. However, there was an advantage. As long as the soul life of the Soul Shadow Stone clone was not cleared, it could operate for a long time until the infused energy was slowly exhausted, and the main body could still perceive everything it perceived. Jin Ke returned to the starting point from the 4th floor of the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth, teleported himself back to the base, and completed the infusion of 200,000 energy points of the Soul Shadow Stone in the base. After finishing all this, Jin teleported back to the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth. When he came to the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth again, the situation around the starting point of the teleportation point had changed greatly. The time walls that Jin Ke painted with fine sand had disappeared, and he could not see where the walls had gone. It seemed that the range of the great teleportation in the labyrinth was very wide, much wider than Jin Ke had imagined. Or teleported to the past and the future? Time is really too mysterious. But what happened was not what Jin Ke was concerned about now. The time-space merchant would soon appear, and he would only appear for an hour. If he could not rush to the entrance of the 6th floor when he appeared, all Jin Ke's previous efforts would be in vain. After waiting for the great relocation to be over again, Jin Ke immediately began to spread the fine sand. At the beginning, there was still only one passage leading to another large room, and then this large room also had only one passage leading to the next large room. After passing through the same number of rooms as last time, Jin Ke once again came to the teleportation point on the 6th floor of the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth. Just like last time, there was no passage to go through. Jin Ke was well prepared. He took out the Soul Shadow Stone, confirmed its use, and summoned a clone of himself. Very good. Although this clone cannot launch ordinary attacks, it can use displacement skills. The clone floated a few dozen centimeters above the ground. Its legs could not walk, but could only drift. This was how the paralyzed man scared Jin Ke last time. Jin thought that this man's cultivation was so advanced that he could fly in the air against gravity. The feeling of controlling the clone is a bit like using a game controller to control a character in a computer game. The only difference is that you don't need a controller to control it, you just need to use your mind. The clone's field of view can open a small screen in the field of view of the original body, which is very convenient to control with your mind. Jin Ke first let his clone perform a death charge in a safe area. It succeeded. The clone crossed a long distance in an instant. Jin controlled the clone to walk to the side of the time wall, ready to try to cross the time wall. Whether it will succeed depends on this one move. Maybe after the clone crosses the time wall, his real body does not need to go there to communicate with the time and space merchant, and he does not need to take risks. Just control the clone from a distance. Didn't the paralyzed man talk to Jin Ke for a long time and even fight with him in this way? Jin Ke held his breath and nervously controlled the soul shadow clone to perform a death charge. The result disappointed Jin Ke very much. The clone did not cross over, but part of its body stuck to the wall, turning into a motionless statue. No matter what Jin Ke did to it, it did not respond. And the small screen of the clone in the field of vision did not show anything, as if it was greatly disturbed. Part of the body stuck to the time wall, the other part is outside the time wall. Doesn't this mean that different parts of the body are in different time flows? However, it is not found that the different parts of the body of those trapped in the time wall or the Xue'er age at different rates. What is the principle behind this? Obviously, all this is beyond Jin Ke's understanding. These topics should be left to scientists to study. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 412 Wisdom. Jin Ke hugged the exposed part of his body and tried to pull his clone out. However, his clone seemed to be welded to the wall and could not be pulled out at all. It was over, and the Soul Shadow Stone was wasted. There was a way to save the Soul Shadow Stone. Jin Ke used his mind to make the Soul Shadow clone quickly release energy and turn back into the Soul Shadow Stone. After shrinking in size, the Soul Shadow Stone fell off the time wall and fell outside the time wall. Jin quickly reached out and picked it up to prevent it from accidentally rolling into the time wall after falling to the ground and getting stuck again. The experiment using the Soul Shadow clone proved that the Death Rush could not cross the time wall. If Jin wanted to go to the teleportation point on the 6th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze, he had to find another way to get there. The last few meters in front of him became an insurmountable gap for Jin Ke now. At this time, a cloud of black fog appeared near the teleportation point on the 6th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze. The black fog grew bigger and bigger, becoming more than a person tall before gradually dissipating. An old man with gray eyebrows and beard, wearing colorful ancient costumes, appeared near the 6th floor teleportation point. The time when this old man appeared coincided with the time that Jin Ke had previously inquired about from the nightmare cycle. Needless to say, he was the time-space merchant. "Hey, old man, look here." Jin Ke jumped and shouted to greet the time-space merchant. The time-space merchant glanced at Jin Ke and then turned his head away. Jin Ke was separated by the time wall. No matter what he tried, he could not trigger the task panel of the time-space merchant, could not talk to him, and could not trade with him. In order to meet the time-space merchant, Jin Ke spent more than a week, but he didn't expect that he could not cross the last few meters. Now he can only watch the time-space merchant appear there and then disappear after an hour. Jin Ke has no idea whether the time-space merchant will come here in the future, and when he will come here again. It's really frustrating. "Please, don't stand there. You are a space-time merchant. You can come to me." "You idiot." Jin Ke continued to provoke the space-time merchant with all kinds of words, but it was all in vain. All NPCs in this game can be regarded as normal humans, but this space-time merchant, to Jin Ke, feels very much like an NPC in a real game. If you don't go to him, you can't trigger his dialogue panel and task panel. Damn the game mechanism. Jin Ke lay on the ground of the maze, looking at the sky above the maze. wanting to curse, and at the same time he was a little frustrated. He felt that he was too stupid, so stupid that he couldn't even solve such a small problem when the plugin couldn't give an effective hint. I don't know what mechanism the plugin uses to explore the maze. Why can't the plugin do anything about this last leg of the journey? According to Jin Ke's guess, the plugin must be a supercomputer, which uses various tentacles to detect the rules and direction of the maze. However, after encountering the time wall, its tentacles were stuck in the time wall, making its exploration efficiency extremely low. So after so long, it still couldn't give Jin Ke any effective hints, except telling Jin Ke where the entrance to the 6th floor of the Dongling Mountain maze was. Perhaps if it was given more time, it could find the passage, but Jin Ke obviously didn't have so much time. Looking at the hazy sky above the maze, Jin Ke thought of the mazes in the park in the real world, and suddenly an idea came to his mind. Jin Ke remembered that when he was a child, when he played the mazes in the park, he often wondered why these people were so stupid. Turning around in the maze, it took a long time to find the exit. This kind of maze should be very simple. When you can't get through, can't you just climb over the wall? Jin Ke was still young at that time, and didn't know that turning around in the maze was a kind of fun and entertainment in itself. Jin Ke sat up from the ground. Yes, there is no passage. Why not climb over it? Although this is a time wall, it is still a wall. Jin Ke threw fine sand upwards with all his strength. The fine sand was not thrown too high, only up to 4 meters at most, and still stuck to the time wall. Jin Ke took out a piece of alien worm bone from the storage space and threw it higher with all his strength. At about 6 meters high, the alien worm bone actually entered the range of the time wall, and then fell into the time wall and floated in the air 6 meters high. Jin Ke's previous guess was correct. Like the maze in the amusement park in the real world, this time wall also has a height, and it is only 6 meters high. There is nothing above 6 meters. Jin Ke took out an alien worm claw from the storage space and inserted it into the time wall. The alien worm claw was fixed on it. Jin Ke took out another alien worm claw and fixed it next to the previous claw. Then Jin Ke took out more low-value items from the storage space, stuck them on the time wall, made them into a support that could be climbed and stepped on, and then carefully pulled and stepped on them to climb up the time wall. After reaching a height of 6 meters, Jin Ke took out fine sand again and threw it forward. The fine sand did not form a wall again, but formed a platform 6 meters above the wall. The platform was about 3 meters wide. After passing the 3 meters below, it was the entrance to the 6th floor of the Dongling Mountain maze. The time and space merchant was waiting there. Jin Ke used fine sand to confirm that there was indeed no obstacle in front of him, and there was no obstacle 3 meters below. After that, a depth charge controlled at about 5 meters allowed him to cross the 3-meter distance and fall from a height of 6 meters. When he was about to fall to the ground, Jin Ke used a rolling attack to remove the impact of falling from a high place, and came to the time and space merchant without bias. Finally, I made it. Jin Ke's mood at this moment was no less excited than when he killed Luo Ye. This was a difficult level that he had overcome with his own wisdom. The 6th floor of the Dongling Mountain maze had no monsters, but it was more difficult to deal with than any monster. But in the end, it did not stump the clever Jin Ke. The sense of accomplishment of solving a puzzle was even greater than the pleasure of pretending to be cool and getting slapped in the face. "Old man, are you a time and space merchant?" Jin Ke suppressed his inner excitement and asked the old man in front of him respectfully. "You threw sand all over my head and body. Don't you think you should apologize to me?" "An old man?" The old man patted the fine sand on his hair, beard, and clothes, and looked at Jin Ke with some annoyance. Chapter 413, Die Together. "You set up this trap, so that I have no other way to come to see you. I was thrown a blind eye. Shouldn't you blame yourself? And I shouted at you so loudly just now. Why didn't you answer? I thought you were a sculpture." Jin Ke asked the old man a few questions. Thinking back, the trap on the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain maze is really amazing. When many people enter the maze, their normal thinking is to find a way out of the maze, and they have formed a fixed mindset. However, the maze can also be climbed over the wall. When Jin Ke was a child in the park playground, he had the idea of climbing over the wall to pass the maze. When he grew up, He had a fixed mindset like everyone else, so his thinking was limited just now. Once you jump out of the fixed mindset, you will find that everything is extremely simple. The wisdom of adults is sometimes not as good as that of a 3-year-old child because of the fixed mindset. Of course, if this maze is replaced with ordinary walls, it may feel very easy. The time wall makes people feel scared, but it is easier to limit their thinking. I didn't set up this game. You called me. Why didn't I hear you? The old man looked unconvinced. I was standing there just now. Jin Ke looked back and was stunned. Where is the time wall he climbed over? This is a large room surrounded by stone walls and a ceiling above. I don't know when it became like this. A virtual illusion set up by the old man? Did you bring the things? The old man asked Jin Ke. What? Jin Ke was a little surprised. 100 years of life. The old man's expression was also strange. Lifespan? Aren't you a time and space merchant? Jin Ke was even more surprised. What kind of bullshit time and space merchant? You are not trying to cheat me, are you? The old man was angry. Lifespan. Jin Ke's mind turned quickly, and soon he connected some things in his memory together. In the nightmare class, the female ghost teacher who was teaching Chinese forced him to exchange 10 years of life. At that time, the benefit she gave Jin Ke was that he could ask her a question. Jin Ke asked her where he could get the soul-splitting agent, a place that was relatively close to the Green Plains shelter. The female ghost teacher answered him and told him to go to the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth. Jin Ke wanted to know a more precise location. There is a time and space merchant who will appear at the entrance from the 5th floor to the 6th floor of the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth between midnight and 1 o'clock 7 days later. Among the goods he sells is the soul-splitting agent. You must have something that he is interested in order to exchange it with him for the soul-splitting agent. I can only tell you this much, and I don't have more precise information. The female ghost teacher was silent for a while before answering Jin Ke. During that moment of silence, she was hiding something from him. Did a female ghost teacher make an appointment with you to meet here? Jin Ke cursed in his heart. That female ghost teacher is really not a good thing. She actually set up a trap to trap him. Don't play tricks on me. Give me your 100 years of life, or I'll risk my life and never let you, a little bitch, get away again. The old man took out the golden staff, which was obviously not an ordinary thing. The reason why he called Jin Ke a little bitch was because Jin Ke was using Zuan Yu and Ming's face now. Anyone who can be easily teleported to this place, who is still so old, and holding a golden staff in his hand, must be a big shot. Don't provoke them if you can, just make it clear. Wait, uncle, listen to me. I was tricked into coming here. That person cheated me of 10 years of life and told me that there would be time-space merchants in this place, selling the goods I needed. I went through so much trouble to come here to find you. You are not a time-space merchant? What on earth did you encounter? We can talk about it and catch this liar who cheated you and me. Jin Ke explained quickly to the old man. Do you think I will still believe your lies after you have deceived me 10,000 times? The most unbelievable thing in this world is your lies. No matter how many times you change your appearance, whether you are a beautiful woman or an ugly woman, this old man can see through you at a glance. Humphrey, if you don't give me 100 years of life, believe it or not, this old man will not want this clone anymore and will self-explode to kill you. The old man became even angrier. I don't know who the evil woman and bitch who deceived you 10,000 times is, but I am definitely not her. I am another victim deceived by her. If I were her, why would I take such a big risk to come here to meet you? Although you are old, I think your thinking is still very clear. You can't even think clearly about such a simple truth, right? Jin Ke was a little amused. What does self-explosion mean? Die together? You, an old man, will not live for many years. I am still young. It is not worth it to die together with you. TSK. Why don't you come? You dare not come. No matter which plane you escape to, I will find you sooner or later. Stop talking nonsense. Give me 100 years of life. Our previous grievances will be wiped out, otherwise, the consequences will be unbearable. The old man was furious. Who do you think I am? Let me swear a poisonous oath. I promise that I am not her. If I am her, Let me be struck by lightning and thrown into the 18 levels of hell forever. Jin could only swear a poisonous curse to prove his innocence. There is no escape in such a sealed place. If a fight breaks out, his fiend possession is still in the cooling period. He does not think he has the ability to defeat this old man with a golden staff. Just now, he used the blood volume plugin to detect the old man's blood volume, and the detection result was unknown. The unknown is the most terrifying. TSK, TSK, TSK. You're at it again, lying that you're also a victim and swearing a poisonous oath. Can you come up with some new tricks? Do you really think I'm senile and can't see through your tricks? The old man had a look of disdain on his face. Damn it, Jin cursed inwardly. What kind of liar was that female ghost teacher? How did she deceive the old man's feelings before? Why didn't the old man believe him no matter how he explained? You want to get away with it without saying anything? 100 years of life. Give it to me. Mommy, mommy, coax me. The energy-sucking technique. The old man suddenly used some kind of secret technique on Jin Ke, forcibly absorbing Jin Ke's life. Jin Ke felt that his 7 souls and 6 spirits were about to be pulled out of his body. During the 2 times he participated in the nightmare class, he won 140 years of life, exchanged for 30 years, and now he does have an extra 110 years of life. However, the lifespan that he worked so hard to win cannot be sucked away just like that. In desperation, Jin Ke stretched out his fist and punched the old man in the face. The 8 light balls, 1 large and 7 small, in his soul suddenly became brighter. Chapter 414, Making Up a Story. The old man dodged very swiftly and took several steps back. What a powerful spirit! You lied to me that you are not her, Humphrey. You unilaterally broke the contract and did not fulfill your promise to me, so don't blame me for being ruthless. The old man glared at Jin Ke. Can you give me 5 minutes to explain everything clearly, whether you believe it or not? Just give me 5 minutes, okay, uncle? Jin Ke asked the old man angrily. You are scolding me, right? The old man became even angrier. When did I scold you? Jin Ke looked confused. Calling me uncle is not scolding me? The old man stomped the staff in his hand on the ground. Uncle is a respectful title. Why does it become a curse word when it comes to you? Jin Ke was speechless. He called himself an old man, which meant that he admitted that he was old. Shouldn't he call an old person uncle? Wouldn't it be because of you that I've become so old? You're taking advantage of me and deliberately using this name to humiliate me. The old man was so angry that he was gasping for breath. Handsome guy, can you give me 5 minutes to explain everything to me, whether you believe it or not? Just give me 5 minutes, okay? Jin Ke's head was bigger than 2, so he had to change his name. Okay, let me see how you're going to make up a story this time. The old man stretched out his hand, and a chair appeared beside him. He sat down on the chair. I don't know what you've been through. I'm just an ordinary player. I'm playing a game called Horror City. A few months ago, Jin gruffly told the old man about his experience in the game, as well as entering the Nightmare Castle, meeting the female ghost teacher in the Nightmare Reincarnation game, being forced to exchange 10 years of life, and being instructed to go to the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Maze to find the Time and Space Merchant. You are really good at making up stories. It's a waste of talent if you don't write novels. After listening to Jin Ke's story, the old man made a few summaries. It was obvious that he still didn't believe everything Jin Ke said. Can you tell me what happened between you and her? Tell me. Maybe I can help you. I am also a victim like you. Next time I meet her, I will never let her off easily. Jin Ke asked the old man. If you want me to believe you, relax your spirit and let me absorb your life for 100 years, and I will believe that you are not her, because she is a stingy person who never suffers losses. But if you disagree, it means that you are her. The old man pondered for a long time and then asked Jin Ke, please, how can I have a life of 100 years? I can live to 80 years old at most, right? I am already 17 this year, which means I only have 63 years of life. If you absorb me for 100 years, I will die now, right? Jin Ke shook his head and patiently explained and moved this unreasonable old man with reason and emotion. Of course, the nightmare class would not tell the old man that they had won more than 100 years of life. Sure enough, you are stingy and never suffer a loss. Humphrey, who else could be such a person except you? A little bitch. The old man rolled his eyes and was very unhappy, and he was sure that Jin Ke was the woman who cheated him. Do you think it's fun for us to be deadlocked like this? Only when everyone speaks out and makes things clear can the problem be solved. Otherwise, you go back to your place and I go back to mine, and don't waste time in this meaningless place. Jin Ke tried to propose it to the old man. Want to leave? It's not that easy. How about this? You let me absorb 10 years of life, so that I can get through the difficulties first. 10 years is not a big deal, right? Even if you live to be 80 years old, you can live to be 70 years old, 10 years less. If you don't agree to this condition, don't blame me for not believing you. After thinking for a while, the old man proposed it to Jin Ke again. 10 years of life is not a small amount. In order to solve the problem, I can consider trading with you under certain conditions. But how can I believe that you only suck away 10 years? What if you suck me dry all at once? Who can I go to for a fight? Jin Ke didn't know the details of this old man, so he decided to try his best to solve the problem instead of intensifying the conflict between the two sides. I can stop sucking and trade with you for life. You only need to trade with me for 10 years of life. Isn't that simple? The old man looked surprised, as if Jin Ke's question was childish. Trade? Okay. What treasures do you have? Take them out and show them to me. If I'm interested, I can consider trading with you for 10 years of my precious life. But after the trade, don't doubt that I'm that bitch anymore. Now I hate her more than you do. Jin Ke proposed to the old man. An unfathomable old man like this, whose blood volume cannot be detected even by external plug-ins, must have a lot of treasures on him. I was in a hurry to go out this time, so I didn't bring any treasures with me. Besides, I told you in advance that this was not a trade, but a debt repayment. It's not worth it for me to exchange the only treasure I brought with me for 10 years of your life, unless I exchange it for 100 years. The old man was silent for a while and then asked Jin Ke, I'm just wondering, isn't it easy for an old monster like you to suck the lifespan of ordinary people? Why do you have to exchange it for my lifespan? Jin Ke tested the old man, trying to find out how strong he was. Who are you calling an old monster? The old man was unhappy. Okay. Handsome old man. Answer my question first. Jin quickly changed his words. What's the use of ordinary people's lifespan to me? Of course, only trading the lifespan of the Nen clan is useful to us. You don't have to deliberately ask these childish questions to pretend to be naive in front of me. Don't you know these things in your heart? The old man looked at Jin Ke with contempt. Jin Ke's heart was beating wildly. This old man turned out to be the boss of the Nen clan. His previous caution was correct. The leader of the Nen clan was not someone he could afford to provoke. Just like Zhang Mengdai's fireball and immortality, if she hadn't become his apprentice without knowing it, it would have been easy for her to kill him. The problem was, this old man seemed to have mistaken Jin Ke for a member of the Nen clan. Was it because of a cheat? Could the cheat be the residual soul of a senior from the Nen clan, attached to the phone? Okay, tell me, what treasures do you have on hand that you can exchange with me? Jin Ke returned to the previous topic. Even if the treasures given by the leader of the Nen clan were casually given, they shouldn't be too bad. If it was something that could reverse time and space, it would be a big profit. As for the golden staff in his hand, Jin Ke estimated that he would definitely not take action, so he didn't expect it. Chapter 415 Decorations. You know, I'm trapped in that plane and can't get out. This time it's an avatar that came here. When my avatar drove the space shuttle here, the plane protocol went wrong, and the optical computer tagged it like a foreign object. I had no choice but to hide my space shuttle. This space shuttle is the only one I have. If you want to exchange it with me, I'll give it to you. The old man was silent for a long time and then asked Jin Ke, space shuttle? Jin couldn't help getting excited when he heard this high-sounding name. He guessed that the old man didn't have an error in the plane protocol, but illegally smuggled into this plane, so he was attacked by the system. 10 years of life in exchange for a space shuttle is definitely a big profit. I just don't know if this illegal item will cause a crazy attack from the system as soon as it is taken out. This is the only space-time shuttle in the micro-universe. When the optical brain separated the micro-universe from the macro-universe, you will definitely be interested. The old man waved the golden staff in his hand, and the three-dimensional projection of the space-time shuttle appeared in front of Jin Ke. Jin Ke recognized it at a glance. It was the flying saucer with runes engraved all over it that he saw on the road when he first came to the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth. Damn, UFO. After a long time, the flying saucer he saw that day was attacked by the light ball, and it was this old man who was smuggling. No wonder it appeared near the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth. You traded an illegal item with me. What's the use of me getting it? To attract the firepower of the optical brain for you? Jin calmed down and decided to figure things out first. I've been bored these days, so I revised the plane protocol. Now the optical brain will no longer attack it. If you don't believe me, I'll summon it out for you to see. The old man waved the golden staff in his hand, and the UFO that Jin Ke had seen appeared beside the two of them. Fortunately, the room was big enough, or the old man knew some kind of magic, and the huge monster with a diameter of 20 meters appeared out of thin air in front of Jin Ke. It was exactly the same as what he saw that day, but this time it appeared in front of Jin Ke, so he could watch it up close and even touch the runes carved on it. Jin Ke was an astronomy enthusiast for a while, and this future technology flying saucer had a fatal attraction to him. 10 years of life, in exchange for this thing. Even if I drive it in the sky for a circle to satisfy my excitement, it's not a loss. But Jin quickly calmed down. The old man used this thing to exchange his 10 years of life, and it felt like there must be some conspiracy. How is it? Are you fine? Didn't encounter any optical brain attacks after appearing? Can we trade it? The old man asked Jin Ke. You gave me this thing, and you are not going back? Jin Ke tried to test the old man's thoughts. I'm just an avatar. I just come to complete the transaction for the main body. What's the point of going back? The old man rolled his eyes, as if the question asked by Jin Ke was childish. You said that this was the only time-space shuttle in the small universe when the optical computer separated the small universe from the big universe, and you still took it out to trade with me? Jin Ke asked the old man. Bitch is so hypocritical. You won't give me 100 years of life in exchange for it. In order to live a few more years, the old man thought of other ways to prolong his life, so I can only give it to you. Now you are asking questions. If you don't want to exchange it, forget it. The old man doesn't want to give it to you. The old man shook his staff and took the flying saucer back. Such a big thing. If you give it to me, I can't take it away. This staff is a prop for storing flying saucers, right? If you give me the staff, I will agree to trade with you. Jin pretended to casually ask the old man. Bitch is so greedy. The old man frowned, with a very reluctant expression. It's not that I'm greedy. If you give me this thing, what's the point if I can't take it away? Of course you should give me the staff as well. And you also said that your clone can't go back anyway. So what's the point of keeping this staff? Jin continued to bargain with the old man. Okay, I'll give it to you. Trade it quickly. The old man will regret it in a while. The old man, with an impatient and unhappy expression on his face, initiated a transaction with Jin Ke. The content of the transaction was a golden staff and a time-space shuttle in exchange for Jin Ke's 10 years of life. Jin Ke hesitated for a few seconds, but finally confirmed the transaction. Life can be earned in the nightmare cycle, but the time-space shuttle and the golden staff will never come back if you miss them. After confirming the transaction, the staff appeared in Jin Ke's hand, and the time-space shuttle also appeared in front of him again. At the same time, he received a prompt from the system saying that the time-space shuttle has been bound to him. Ha 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 ha. Great, thank you. The old man laughed a few times, then turned into a ball of black mist and disappeared from the spot. The first feeling that the old man's performance before leaving gave Jin Ke was, he seemed to have been fooled. The second feeling was, he seemed to have been cheated. The third feeling was, he seemed to have been cheated. Otherwise, why would the old man be so happy? The golden staff. Let's take a look at the system description. Golden staff, a decorative item. It seems that there is no other use except to show off. Damn. Jin cursed. As expected, this old man is not a good thing. Deliberately holding a golden staff to perform various performances. The result is a decoration. Is the time shuttle also fake? Jin hurriedly checked the system description of the time shuttle. Damaged time shuttle. It has been severely damaged by an unknown attack, and the specific extent of the damage is unknown. Damn it again. Jin Ke finally understood why the old man was so happy when he left. A decoration, plus a damaged time shuttle, exchanged for 10 years of his life. What does it mean that the staff is a decoration? Decoration, which means that this thing cannot take the time shuttle away. What does it mean that it is damaged? Damage means that he can't drive the time shuttle away. Two pieces of waste. Despite this, Jin Ke decided to go into the time shuttle to take a look, even if it is just to satisfy his curiosity and satisfy his addiction. In the real world, I have heard of UFO incidents many times, but no one has ever really had the opportunity to enter a UFO. Jin Ke is the first to try it, even if it is a damaged one. How to get in? Time shuttle. Open the door. Let me in. Jin Ke issued a command in his mind. Report to the master. The hatch system is damaged and cannot be opened. An electronic voice answered Jin Ke. Who are you? Jin Ke asked the electronic voice. Report to the master. I am the mastermind of the time shuttle. The electronic voice replied to Jin Ke. Chapter 416 The Other World. Oh, great, mastermind. How can I get into the shuttle now? Jin Ke asked the electronic sound again. After asking, he remembered that he could use the death dash to get in. Report to the master. There is a damaged porthole. The master can climb in from there. The electronic sound answered Jin Ke. No need to bother. Jin Ke activated the death dash skill, but received a prompt saying that this shuttle has space-time energy armor and the skill cannot pass through. It seems that the only way to get in is to climb in from the damaged porthole. Jin Ke circled the space-time shuttle for a long time, but couldn't find where the damaged porthole was. That, mastermind, where is the damaged porthole? Jin Ke had to ask the electronic sound. Report to the master. It's here. The space-time shuttle rotated for most of a circle before stopping again. Jin Ke still didn't see where the porthole was. Could it be above the disk? The outer wall of the disk was very smooth. Jin Ke had no choice but to find some suitable footing objects in the storage space. After working hard for most of the day, he finally climbed to the top of the disk. Sure enough, a hole was blown open in the place facing him. A hole big enough for him to get in. After entering, the inner space of the time shuttle was not quite what Jin Ke had imagined. There was no cockpit as he had imagined, just an empty circular inner space. There were a dozen vertical hibernation cabins and other things placed near the wall. Some of them were damaged by weapons, but there were still a few that looked usable. Master, how should I drive this thing? Jin Ke asked the electronic voice. Report to the master. Please enter the control cabin to issue driving instructions. The electronic voice answered Jin Ke. Anyone? Jin Ke pointed to the vertical control cabins beside the wall. Report to the master. Yes. Please choose one that is not damaged. The electronic voice answered Jin Ke. At the same time, several control cabins emitted green light, indicating that they were not damaged. Okay. Jin Ke walked towards one of the control cabins that was glowing green, and asked electronic sound to open the hatch. There were some very complicated devices inside that Jin Ke didn't recognize, but in the middle was a human figure, just enough for a person to stand inside. Jin Ke stood at the human figure, and some locks automatically locked his body and hands and feet, and a helmet covered his head, and then closed the hatch. Wait, let me out. Jin Ke felt something was wrong, and quickly issued an order to electronic sound. Report to the master. Okay. Electronic sound replied to Jin Ke, and at the same time released the lock device and opened the hatch of the control cabin. Jin Ke was relieved. It seemed that this device was like this, not a trap. After confirming that it was not a trap, Jin Ke re-entered the control cabin. Can we leave this maze by space jumping? Jin Ke asked electronic sound. Report to the master. Yes. Electronic sound replied to Jin Ke. Is the space jump engine not damaged? Jin Ke couldn't help but be a little surprised. Report to the master. The space-time jump engine is seriously damaged, but it can still make one last jump. Jin Ke hesitated for a long time, but in the end he did not let the electronic sound make a space-time jump. Space jump is just jumping from one place to another, so doesn't space-time jump mean jumping to another time and space? The past? The future? Don't try this for the time being. How did the old man store you? Jin Ke asked the electronic sound. It would be better to find a way to store it first, and then try its other functions after confirming that it is safe. Report to the master. The original owner stored me in his soul space. The electronic sound answered Jin Ke. What should I do to store you in my soul space? Jin continued to ask the electronic sound. Report to the master. Your energy cultivation level is too low to do this. The electronic sound answered Jin Ke. Then I can only use the space-time jump engine you mentioned to leave? Report to the master. Yes, I don't need a time jump. Just a space jump will do. Jin thought about it and asked the electronic sound. Report to the master. Please set the destination coordinates. The electronic voice answered Jin Ke. You don't need to add the 4 words report to the master in front of every sentence. Jin Ke has not yet decided where to let the time-space shuttle jump. Report to the master. The program is damaged. Report to the master. The set target location has been searched. Report to the master. The target location has been confirmed. Report to the master. The plane jump engine is turned on. Report to the master. The final destination of this trip. The innermost world. Report to the master. The plane jump is about to begin. Hey, stop, stop. What inner world? What plane jump? Stop it, let me out of the control cabin. Jin Ke felt something was wrong and shouted repeatedly. Report to the master. The plane jump program cannot be stopped after it starts. Report to the master. The plane jump. Report. Jin Ke only felt a trance, and then a feeling of being torn apart. A moment later, Jin Ke regained consciousness and found that he had the vision of this time-space shuttle. It should be that the vision of the space shuttle was connected to his vision through some kind of connection in the control cabin. The world around him was pitch black, but a cloud of black fog appeared in front of him. How could he see a cloud of black fog in the darkness? Jin couldn't quite understand it. There must be some explanation, that is. He didn't see it, but felt it. Could it be a wormhole? Don't jump, don't jump, Jin shouted repeatedly, but the space shuttle didn't listen to his command and rushed towards the wormhole in front. The feeling of falling, maybe it was an illusion. The world around him became fragmented. It seemed to hear the sound of glass breaking, heard some inexplicable crying. It seemed to hear the roar of metal. It seemed to feel the feeling of time passing by rapidly. Finally, Jin suddenly woke up like a drowning person suddenly floating to the surface. He found that he appeared in a scene of blue sky and white clouds. Everything outside the cabin observed by the space shuttle was in his field of vision. Everything on the ground was very familiar. Why does it feel like the real world? Warning, warning, space-time energy armor is low. Warning, warning, weapon lock. Warning, warning, anti-gravity engine is running low. Anti-gravity engine shut down. Chapter 417 Gliding. Boom, boom. The aircraft seemed to be hit by something. Jin felt a violent shock. He quickly adjusted his vision with his mind and found that 2 fighters were passing by him. They should have launched missiles to hit the time-space shuttle. Warning, warning, time-space energy armor is damaged. Warning, warning, the main engine is exhausted. Warning, warning, all energy is exhausted. The main brain is about to shut down. Gliding. Fuck. Main brain? Are you sure it's not falling down, but gliding? Jin watched the flying saucer that lost power crashing into the ground, but he was helpless at this time. The plane has 2 wings and can glide without power. After the anti-gravity engine of this time-space shuttle loses energy, it is just a huge weight. What is it sliding? It is clearly hammering the ground. The main brain was silent. It seemed that it either ran out of energy and shut down automatically, or it was too embarrassed to speak. What a pit, what a pit. Damn old man, old liar, Jin cursed. Just when the UFO was about to hit the ground at an angle, Jin used a death charge horizontally, rushed out of the UFO cabin, and fell from a height of more than 10 meters in the air to the ground below. Then, before his body was about to hit the ground, he took a rolling assault to relieve the huge impact of the fall, and finally landed safely. Then he felt a violent tremor in the ground nearby, as if an earthquake had occurred. Fortunately, the space-time energy armor had been exhausted, otherwise he would not have been able to use his skills to directly pass through the cabin. Looking back, the UFO had smashed a big hole in the ground, and the dust that was rolled up formed a mushroom cloud of not too large a scale, and half of the hull of the UFO had already smashed into the ground. The UFO, which had lost its energy shield, was broken into 2 halves, and the various crystal plates inside were exposed outside the body. There was also some kind of white liquid seeping out of the crystal plates. It was horrible to look at, and it looked like it was completely scrapped. I haven't even controlled it to fly once, and it crashed. Disposable, Jin complained crazily. What on earth is this place? After complaining, Jin began to think about an important question. He was just on the 5th floor of the Dongling mountain maze. After the UFO was accidentally activated, it directly created a space-time wormhole in front of him and then drilled into it. When he came out, he came to this place. All the skills, virtual mobile phone screens, vision menus, etc. were all there. It means he is still in the game world. But how can the game world have such a blue sky, such white clouds, such green trees, and such bright sunshine? After a while, Jin Ke saw the figure of a helicopter appear in the distance above his head, heard the roar of the helicopter, and there were fighter jets flying over from high in the sky. He felt something was not good, and rushed to the distant forest. On the way, Jin Ke saw some fully armed soldiers approaching this side. In the mentality of not getting into trouble if he didn't know the situation, Jin Ke used his various skills such as his death shadow to avoid the approaching soldiers and walked out of the forest. After walking out of the forest, Jin Ke felt more and more like he was back in the real world. There was a small town outside the forest. The town was bustling with people. There were some small stalls selling food on the street, as well as various small shops. He even saw a supermarket. After Jin Ke turned on the mobile phone plug-in, he could check the health of these people, ranging from 30 or 40 points to more than 100 points. With Jin Ke's current strength, killing them is as easy as cutting melons and vegetables. Is this world the real world? If not, have characters from the game world appeared in their world before? If so, this world cannot be so peaceful. It should be similar to the 4th level of Mengdu, right? Could the UFO have entered the 6th level of the Dongling mountain maze, a world similar to Mengdu? A giant tree and a Gundam appeared in Mengdu. What will appear in this world? After checking the place names marked on the nearby shops on the virtual mobile phone screen, Jin Ke was surprised to find that he was now in the real world, and near a city he knew, near Chengqing City in Guangdong Province. There is no doubt that if there is Chengqing City in Guangdong Province, there must be Huang City in Beiyou Province. The dreams of the 4th level are all cities that do not exist in the real world, but the cities here do exist in the real world. What does this mean? The easiest way to find out if this is the real world. Jin Ke opened the QQ of the virtual phone and made video calls to Zhu Shu, Liu Zhu, Chen Wei, Zhang Mengdai, Bo and others. Of course, he would not tell them what happened to him, but just pretended to ask if they were there. As a result, except for those who did not answer the phone, everyone said they were there. After the video call, Jin Ke suddenly found that his call was meaningless, because he had not made video calls with other people when he was in the game world before. What if he could make video calls with other people in the game world? His test would be meaningless, unless he returned to Huang City in this world and saw them with his own eyes. Otherwise, even if he called or sent QQ to contact them, he might not be able to confirm that they were in the real world. Jin Ke looked at the newspapers on the newsstand on the street and confirmed that the time was consistent with the time in his real world. If you want to go to Huang City from here, you must first take a bus to Chengqing City, and then take a plane back to Huang City. The problem is that Jin Ke has no money on him now, no ID card, and only a virtual mobile phone. Without a physical mobile phone, he can't use WeChat payment. What can I do? You can use a set of exoskeletons obtained from Luo Ye to run from here to Chengqing City. It will take about a day, right? But running on the highway or on the highway like this is too shocking. In connection with the previous UFO crash, wouldn't it be a public announcement to everyone that he is an alien driving a UFO, and then be caught and sliced? Although he has game skills, if there are things like Gundam in this world, his armor is still not good enough. Even if there is no Gundam, the durability of the armor is hundreds of thousands, and it may not last too long if it is concentrated fire or bombed by missiles. Facing a strange new world, It is better not to expose your strength easily. Just get money to buy a ticket to Huang City and find out the truth of this new world. How to get money. He used his skills to break through walls and steal some money to buy a ticket. Where to steal, unless he stole from the home of a corrupt official. Chapter 418 The Legendary Hero. The problem is that he doesn't know who the corrupt officials are, let alone where their homes are. Jin can't do such a thing as stealing money from ordinary people. While thinking about where to get the money, Jin Ke unknowingly walked to the bus station of the town. This is not an ordinary town, it is a tourist attraction. No wonder there are so many people, all tourists from other places. There was a quarrel nearby, and there was also the sound of crying. Jin Ke looked over and found that it was two female tourists who looked like students, arguing with the owner of a store on the street. After watching the excitement for a while, Jin Ke soon understood what was going on. Two girls bought water at a small store on the street, 5 yuan a bottle, and gave the store owner 10 yuan to buy 2 bottles. After the store owner looked at the money, he said that the money was missing a dime and asked the two girls to change it. The girl who gave the money took the money and saw that it was really missing a dime, so she looked in her wallet and found a 20 note and handed it to the store owner. As a result, after the store owner took the money, he said that the money was missing a dime and asked the girls to change it again. The girl found a 50 yuan bill and checked it herself to see if it was missing a corner. She handed it to the store owner, but the owner still said it was missing a corner and asked the two girls to change it. The girl felt that something was wrong and decided not to buy water in this store, but her companion had already opened the bottle and drank it. It was not her bottle that was opened. When the store owner brought out the water just now, he helped them open the bottle very enthusiastically. There was no other way, so the girl had to take out another 100 yuan bill and hand it to the owner, and showed it to the owner in person, saying that the bill was not missing a corner, and asked the owner to change 90 yuan. After the owner took the money and looked at it, he handed the money back to the girl, saying it was a counterfeit bill and asked the girl to change it. The girl was very angry and said that she had withdrawn all her money from the ATM and it couldn't be a counterfeit bill, but the owner insisted that it was a counterfeit bill and asked the girl to change it. The girl had to take out another 100 yuan bill and hand it to the owner. As a result, the owner said it was a counterfeit bill again and asked the girl to change it. The girl gave the boss the 400 yuan bills in her wallet one by one, but they were all said to be counterfeit. Finally, the boss claimed to be kind and asked the girl to give him the first 10 yuan bill with a missing corner, and finally the matter was settled. But when the two girls went to another store to buy something, they were accused of counterfeit money again. After they carefully studied the 400 yuan bills, they found that they really had become counterfeit bills. They were obviously real bills taken out of the ATM. So how could they all become counterfeit bills? The two girls recalled carefully and figured out that when they said that the money was missing a corner in the previous store and exchanged 400 yuan bills, the black-hearted store owner switched them. So the two girls went back to the original store and accused the store of actively using counterfeit bills to exchange their real bills. But the store owner refused to admit it, and even acted cruel and insulted them. Two shirtless young men with tattoos rushed out of the store, claiming that they would beat people if they dared to make trouble here. The two girls wanted to call the police, but there was no evidence to prove that the store owner had switched the bills, so they had to leave in tears. The crowd of onlookers pointed at the shop owner. Everyone knew what was going on, but they couldn't do anything about it. Finally, I found a place where I can make money with a clear conscience. Jin Ke was overjoyed and quickly walked to a nearby alley where no one could see him and put on Ji Mengen's face. This kind of bad thing? No, a good thing of punishing evil and promoting good. Of course it should be done by Ji Mengen. Ji Mengen put on sunglasses, swaggered to the previous store, and asked the boss for a bottle of water. 5 yuan. The boss quoted the price to Ji Mengen. No money. Ji Mengen unscrewed the bottle cap and drank it. You drink my water without money? Are you sick? The shop owner's face turned ugly and he cursed Ji Mengen. Dare to curse me? Are you looking for death? Why don't you ask? Do you know who I am? Ji Mengen slapped the shop owner in the face. Although the hand was very light, it still knocked out several of his teeth and swollen half of his face. Oh my god, he's beating people. He's beating people in broad daylight. Is there any law? The shop owner covered his face and yelled, "Well done!" The two girls in the crowd who were watching earlier heard the noise and gathered around again. Seeing the shop owner being beaten, they couldn't help but cheer. Two shirtless young men with tattoos rushed out from the inner room. Seeing Ji Mengan beating people, they immediately rushed towards Ji Mengan with their fists. Ji Mengan and one of them exchanged punches. There was a crisp sound of broken bones, and the man immediately covered his arm and screamed. The other man's punch missed, and Ji Mengan lightly hit him on the back of the head, and he immediately fell to the ground and fainted. "Don't dare to use force." Ji Mengan shook his wrist. Hit hard. The two girls in the crowd cheered Ji Mengan. "Where is the money you just cheated?" Ji Mengan ignored the crowd. He had something more important to do. Ji Mengan walked over and grabbed the store owner by the collar, questioning him. In broad daylight, the store owner shouted again, but he was only halfway through what he wanted to say when he was stopped by another slap from Ji Mengan. "Wrong answer. Where is the money you just cheated?" Ji Mengan asked the store owner again. "In the drawer." The store owner knew that he had met a tough guy, and a hero would not suffer a loss in front of him. He could only honestly find the $400 bills that replaced the girls and handed them to Ji Mengan. "Your money. Take it back." Ji Mengan handed the money to the two girls. "Thank you, big brother." The two girls looked at Ji Mengan, who was wearing sunglasses and was so handsome, with a face full of gratitude and shyness. The legendary hero, with a sense of justice bursting out. And he is so handsome. The two little hearts are about to jump out of their throats. "Where is the other money you cheated? Take it all out." Ji Mengan continued to interrogate the store owner. "No more." The store owner shook his head vigorously. "Wrong answer." Ji Mengan raised his hand to slap again. "No, no, I'll give it to you." The shop owner was so scared when he saw Ji Mengan slap. How could that be a human slap? It was clearly a piece of iron plate. Okay, it hurt like hitting the wall when it hit his face. The shop owner had no choice but to give all the more than 2,000 yuan that his store had cheated him of. Ji Mengan kicked the shop owner back to his store like a dead dog, and then walked away with more than 2,000 yuan. "It's the first time I see someone being beaten and robbed in broad daylight, and I feel so good." That's right, evildoers will be punished by evildoers. He has done all kinds of bad things, and finally got his retribution. Hey, what were you filming just now? Wouldn't it hurt him to film the hero in your phone? Don't film, don't film. I didn't film the front. The crowd of onlookers talked a lot, but Ji Mengan was not worried at all that he would be filmed. After entering the bus station, Ji Mengan went into the cubicle of the public toilet, and Shan Yao came out. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 419 The Man Returning from the Gaming World. After a while, a policeman came to the bus station and took the shop owner, whose face was swollen on both sides, to look for someone. The two girls in the crowd who had been watching followed the shop owner and loudly told the police about the shop owner's fraud, and then scolded him for what he deserved. Shan Yao was standing a few meters away from the shop owner, but unfortunately the shop owner didn't recognize him. There were many people entering and leaving the public toilet at the bus station just now. Ji Mengan and Shan Yao were tall and short and fat respectively. Even if the police carefully checked the surveillance video afterwards, they couldn't connect the two people of different heights. The police asked the crowd about the situation, and then took the shop owner to the nearby police station, saying that they would investigate his fraud by tearing the corner of the money. The shop owner shouted that he was innocent, but he didn't know who took the lead. Someone in the crowd smashed an egg on the shop owner's face, and someone threw rotten fruit at him. In this case, the police didn't want to investigate who beat the shop owner. This phenomenon shows that many people in the crowd still have a sense of justice, but at least a hero like Ji Mengan will punish the bad guys before the crowd will burst out with their sense of justice. Now that Jin Ke has money, of course he will buy a ticket back to Huang City. Jin Ke first bought a bus ticket to Chengqing City. After arriving in Chengqing City, Jin Ke found a deserted place to change his face back to his own face, and then went to the train station to buy a ticket to return to Huang City. People over the age of 16 must use their ID cards to take the bus. Jin Ke's storage space is now full of things in the game, and his ID card is not with him. In addition, he is very confused about whether this world is a game world or the real world. His game skills, physical attributes, etc. are all in the game world, and the field of vision menu, virtual mobile phone, etc. are also there, all of which show that he is in the game world. However, the world in front of him is exactly the same as the real world. Is it a parallel world of the real world? Now there is a way for Jin Ke to quickly understand whether this is the real world. That is to go to the police station at the railway station to check your identity. For those who need to board a plane, take a train, or stay in a hotel urgently because their resident ID card is lost, stolen, or forgotten, the police stations at the airport, railway station, and the police stations in the hotel area will verify the identity of the person by querying the National Population Information System, and issue a temporary identity certificate for them in a timely manner for the flight, train, and hotel check-in. If the police station at the railway station finds out his identity based on his ID number, wouldn't it be confirmed that he also exists in this world? Then, does it mean that this world is the real world? If there is no identity information, it can be confirmed that this world is not the world he lives in. It is likely to be a virtual real world, or a parallel world of the real world. Of course, if his identity information cannot be found, he is likely to be detained as a suspect. But that's not a big problem. He can use his skills to escape, and then change his face to easily get rid of the pursuit. And after confirming that this is not the real world, Jin Ke doesn't have so many scruples. After thinking all this over, Jin Ke walked into the police station at the railway station, reported his ID number, and asked for verification of his identity and a temporary identity certificate for taking the train. When the staff checked the system, Jin Ke was a little nervous, especially when the staff looked up at him. Remember to bring your ID card next time you go out. The staff handed the certificate to Jin Ke, then waved to him, indicating that he could leave. Looking at the temporary ID in his hand, Jin Ke's mind was confused. In this world, there is actually his identity information? That means this world is a parallel world of the real world? If it is a parallel world, would there be another Jin Ke? The train from Chengqing City to Huang City takes 9 hours on the road. According to the internet, there will be a flight to Huang City at the airport in 2 hours. Since he has more than 2,000 yuan and a temporary ID that can be used for flying, Jin Ke decided to take a plane to save time on the road. After wandering around the city of Chengqing City and eating some local specialties, Jin Ke took a taxi to Chengqing Airport. Storage props can be placed inside storage props. Jin Ke stored all his things in an invisible storage bracelet and successfully passed security check and boarded the plane. After the plane took off, Jin Ke couldn't help but lament. A man who drives a flying saucer has fallen to the point of taking a plane. The quality of this flying saucer is too poor. It crashed before it flew twice. Otherwise, he would have driven the flying saucer to Huang City much faster. And it would have been so cool. Finally returned to Huang City. When Jin Ke took a taxi back to the entrance of the Blue Home community, he felt very strange. Is there a horror city game in this world? Are there game players? Are Chenwei, Zhu Xiu and others in Villa 16? Are Zhang Mengdai, Bo He and others in Villa 17? Will there be another him? It was not until he came to the door of Villa 17, saw the car parked by the door of the villa, entered the villa, saw Zhang Mengdai, Bo, Yuxioxi and others, and even saw Xue'er pick her up from the crib, that he was sure that he had indeed returned to the real world, the real world. There is no other Jin Ke here. Everyone's words and deeds, the development of all things, are continuous with the real world he originally lived in. However, he did not quit the game. He is still in the game world. Now he has retained all the skills, attributes, items in the game world, including the vision menu and the like. There is no option to materialize the game cabin in the extended function menu, but there is an option to exit the game in the vision. All this is too weird. Where will you go back to after quitting the game? After quitting the game, will he become an ordinary person again? Can he enter the game again? He entered the game world by entering the game cabin from the real world, and then drove the flying saucer in the game world through the wormhole, through the plane, and returned to the real world. He became a man who returned from the game world. After returning to Villa number 17, Jin Ke received a notice from the studio that the server of the game Horror City would be under maintenance for a period of time, and the client would be upgraded. The time of restoring login would be notified separately. This was the first time that Jin Ke had encountered server maintenance and client upgrade since he started playing the game. Chapter 420, Terrifying Thoughts. Could it be that his time travel caused the game to be suspended? Jin Ke brought all the skills and props in the game world back to the real world, and now the channel between the real world and the game world is temporarily closed. This matter is extremely scary when you think about it carefully. I don't know if it is because he broke the rules of the plane. Now everything is so fun. Jin Ke, he has become the only superpower in the real world. More than a dozen super powerful skills, 4 professions, various high lethal weapons, and rune black energy armor that can withstand a large number of bullets and artillery attacks in the game. Of course, there are also incredible storage props. There is a lot of room for imagination. The studio is very conscientious. Although the server maintenance and the game opening time will be determined separately, the salary will still be paid. Despite this, Liu Zhu, Zhu Shu, Yu Gang, Gao Beiqing, Ni Yu, Qin Heiji and others in the 16 villas are extremely uneasy. They already know that if they die in the game world, they will die in the real world. Just before the server maintenance, they only received a system prompt to find a safe place to log off. Although they were all in the base, they could not see their characters on their phones, which made them feel uneasy, but there was nothing they could do but wait. Jin Ke did not have such worries, as his character was now in the real world. Now the first thing Jin Ke had to face was money. Since he had so many superpowers, he had to make his life more beautiful and comfortable in the real world. Jin Ke's original intention of playing the game Horror City was to make money to support himself and Xue'er, so that he could have powerful abilities to bring Luo Ye back to his side and reunite the family of 3. He never thought at that time that one day he would return to the real world with the skills in the game. With such abilities, what else could he not do in the real world? In other words, who could stop him? Wheel and Home Villa Community, Luo's house. How is the company's situation? Gu Jiao looked at Luo Ye, who looked downcast, with a worried look on her face. Don't worry about these things, I'll find a way. Luo Ye waved his hand impatiently at Gu Jiao. A while ago, Luo's company was attacked by rumors from competitors. Several customers who had been cooperating suddenly stopped purchasing goods, and banks began to urge loans, and the company's capital chain was broken. Some middlemen took the opportunity to buy the company at a low price, but were rejected by Luo Ye. Luo Ye found someone to contact loan sharks and borrowed nearly 10 million yuan in working capital by mortgaging real estate and factories, and agreed to repay it in a month. Originally, I thought that with this 10 million yuan, I could get the company running again, but I never thought that the company's largest customer suddenly turned against me at this critical moment and tore up the originally negotiated contract. Because of the long-term cooperation relationship, there were not many restrictions on the compensation for breach of contract in the contract, resulting in all losses being borne by Luo's company. The capital chain of Luo's company was completely broken. In order to repay the 10 million yuan in usury owed, Luo Ye fell into the trap of other loan sharks. After a month and a half, the interest was compounded to 80 million yuan. The total fixed assets of the Luo family now only amount to more than 50 million, which is not enough to repay the loan sharks. Luo Ye did not dare to tell his wife Gu Jiao about this situation, and just kept smoking all day, but he could not hide it for a few days. The loan sharks had already said that Luo Ye should either repay all the loans within a week, or clean up all the fixed assets within a week, including moving out of the house he was living in, and use these fixed assets to repay the loan sharks. Loan sharks are not protected by law, but these lending companies have already thought of countermeasures. They signed a yin-yang contract, and all the debts were signed in the name of financial transactions between companies. Even if they went to court, the Luo family would still have to pay compensation. Luo Ye is now desperate. Wheelan Home Villa Community. Number 17. The Liu family in Huang City is haunted. It is useless to find the monks in the temple, the Taoist priests in the temple, and the priests in the church. You go there. If you can solve it, the Liu family is willing to pay a reward of 1 million yuan. Jin Ke's virtual mobile phone screen received an email from the studio. Haunted? Is it useful for haunted people to find me? Jin Ke replied to the email. It's just a little wild ghost with only one soul life. If you are willing to take it, we will give your information to the other party, and someone will be waiting for you at Liu Mansion. The studio replied again. Oh, I see, no problem, I'll take this task. Jin Ke didn't ask any more questions, but he was sure of one thing. The studio had a complete grasp of his situation and knew that he could fight with his soul, including that he brought all the skills from the game world back to the real world. It seemed that in the real world, he was not the boss, but the Jingjai studio was the boss. Forget about that for now, it would be a waste not to make money. 1 million. After getting the address, Jin Ke asked Bo to drive him and Zhang Mengdai to the destination quickly. Anyway, they had nothing to do now, so they could be his assistants on the spot. How could an exorcist not have an assistant? Liu Mansion. The Liu family is one of the most powerful families in the central region. This little brother, the receptionist of Liu Mansion, came over. I'm Jin Ke. Jin Ke stated his identity. Is it brother Jin Ke? Please come this way. The receptionist obviously got the information of the studio through some channel and was not surprised by Jin Ke's arrival. Liu Mansion is a large mansion, covering at least dozens of acres. The whole mansion is more beautiful than a scenic spot. It can be seen that the owner is very rich. Various ritual tools are placed around the small building that was possessed by the ghost. Talisman paper, evil-avoiding mirrors, etc. are everywhere, and there are even some crosses. Jin Ke didn't waste any words and directly took Bo He and Zhang Mengdai into the small building. A young woman was lying on the bed. Her face was black, and her body was locked tightly on the bed. She kept howling to the people around her, and her mouth made a very scary sound. Master Liu, the person is here. The receptionist brought Jin Ke to a middle-aged man and reported to the middle-aged man in a low voice. The middle-aged man was named Liu Qian. He was very burly, with a full forehead, sword-like eyebrows and eagle eyes. He gave people the feeling of a superior who was intimidating without even getting angry. Jin Ke, how old are you? Can you exorcise ghosts? How are you going to do it? Liu Qian frowned and looked at Jin Ke with distrust. When did she develop this condition? What were the symptoms at the beginning? Jin Ke asked Liu Qian, and then observed the condition of the young woman on the bed. Chapter 421 Exorcism. Sure enough, a ball of black mist appeared faintly in her body. A ball of black mist that only Jin Ke could see. In the black mist was a woman's hideous face, which was not clear, but obviously not the same person as the young woman on the bed. After Jin Ke detected it, he confirmed that its soul life was only 1 point. A little ghost with 1 point of soul life dared to show off in front of Master Jin. Looking for death? Jin Ke felt relieved. She is Liu Hui, the daughter of Master Liu. About a week ago, she had some minor illnesses and went to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor said it was nothing serious. But after she came back, she complained of a headache. At first, we didn't take it seriously and thought it was a minor problem. When it got worse, we took her to the hospital for various tests, but still couldn't find any problems. Later, her headaches became more and more severe. She said someone was talking in her head. We realized the seriousness of the matter. After consulting a master, we invited monks and Taoist priests to perform rituals, but it didn't work at all. Her condition became worse and worse. At the beginning, we could still communicate with her, but now she is unconscious and just keeps howling at us. After the monks and Taoist priests couldn't handle it, they said that it might be a Western evil spirit that possessed her body, and asked us to find the priest in the church. The priest in the church performed all the rituals, but it still didn't work, so we contacted the senior management of a supernatural website we had dealt with before, and they recommended you here. The receptionist whispered to Jin Ke about the situation. Which supernatural website? Jin Ke was very interested in this information. Don't you know? The receptionist was a little surprised. We, the Golden Magic Master, are very skilled in Taoism. We don't come out to perform exorcisms easily. Only when the case is extremely difficult will someone contact us directly. Bo reacted very quickly and answered the receptionist on behalf of Jin Ke. Really? I didn't see that. Yuki-on, who had been sitting there without saying much, spoke up. He felt that Jin Ke was not very old, which made him unconvinced. Now Bo made another boast, which made him feel that these three people came here to cheat. How could an exorcist be so young and have two beauties around him? Don't believe us? Why did you ask us to do that if you don't believe us? If we successfully solve your problem and save your daughter, shouldn't you apologize to us for what happened just now? Bo immediately retorted to Yuki-on, no problem. If you can successfully solve our problem today, I will double the reward and apologize to you for what I said just now. However, if you boast today but fail to solve our problem and rescue my daughter, I want to tell you that it is easy to get into Liu Mansion, but it is not so easy to get out. Yuki-on threatened Bo. I didn't say anything. Don't detain me. I am lazy and greedy, and it is useless for you to keep me here. I will eat you out of money. Zhang Mengdai was horrified and quickly distanced herself from Bo. It doesn't matter. You are delicate and tender. You can steam it. Yuki-on pretended to be vicious and glared at Zhang Mengdai. I often don't take a bath. My body smells, and it's not delicious. She takes a bath every day, so you can steam her. Zhang Mengdai quickly pointed at Bo beside her. Bo glanced at Zhang Mengdai with a resentful look, and expressed great contempt for this behavior of betraying teammates on the spot. Okay. Everyone can go out. I'm going to start the exorcism, Jin Ke announced to everyone. I'll sit here and won't disturb you. Yuki-on was obviously very worried about the three people. Master Liu was on the scene for the previous few rituals and kept quiet. Just do it, even if it doesn't work. Master Liu won't really blame you. The receptionist whispered to Jin Ke. Okay, if you want to stay here, stay here. The reason why Jin Ke wanted to ask them to leave was because this exorcism was too easy and it was not easy to play tricks. The exorcism in movies and TV would take most of the day, but he did it so easily. Doesn't it make this matter seem not too serious? But since the owner didn't want to leave, he didn't force it. You can exorcise. I'll just watch and won't interfere with you, Yuki-on also said, but his expression clearly showed that he didn't trust Jin Ke very much. I'm going to start the exorcism. You two protect me and don't let anyone get close to me. Jin Ke told Bo He and Zhang Mengdai a few words. Don't worry, Master. I will protect your safety. I promise not to let anyone get close to you. Zhang Mengdai patted his chest and assured Jin Ke. Bo rolled his eyes at Zhang Mengdai, expressing extreme contempt for her. Jin Ke didn't say any more nonsense. Looking at Liu Hui, who was howling and struggling on the bed, he directly launched a soul war against the woman in the black mist possessed in her body. The battlefield of the gods was opened. A female ghost with only one soul life appeared on the opposite side of the battlefield. As the initiator of the battle, Jin Ke could still communicate with the two sides if he did not confirm the start of the battle. Who are you? A wild ghost. Why are you living in this girl's body? Get out of here quickly, Jin Ke shouted at the female ghost opposite. Oh, an acquaintance. The face of the female ghost seemed to change. After a while, it turned into the image of the female ghost teacher in the nightmare classroom. It's you, you liar. You forcibly took away my 10 years of life, and lied to me that there was a time-space merchant on the 5th floor of the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth. What happened? There was only an old man who was deceived by you. Jin Ke was furious after recognizing the female ghost. You seem to have had many adventures in the Dongling Mountain Labyrinth. You should thank me. The female ghost was also unhappy. Prepare to die. Jin Ke threatened the female ghost a few times. He felt that the female ghost should have some secrets that she didn't tell. Wait. This is a body that I chose with great difficulty that is more suitable for me. You forcibly drove me away to make an enemy with me. Do you know how powerful I am? Do you know the consequences of doing this? I advise you to think carefully before doing this. The female ghost threatened Jin Ke. After Jin Ke opened the battlefield of the gods, Liu Hui, who had been howling on the bed, stopped howling and became quiet. Yuki-on and the receptionist couldn't help but be a little surprised. From time to time, they looked at Jin Ke and Liu Hui on the bed with a solemn expression. No matter the monks, Taoist priests, or priests in the church. They had not been able to do this. After their rituals began, Yu always acted more painful than before. It seemed that the person who came today did have some tricks. It was better not to draw conclusions too early and wait until the final result came out. Chapter 422. A Generous Reward. Oh, you dare to call yourself powerful with only one soul life? Jin laughed instead of getting angry. This is just one of my souls, just like what you saw in the nightmare class. That is also one of my souls. I just released a few of my souls to search for the panacea to prevent aging in various planes. My main body is the leader of the ancient energy tribe. I can make you disappear in a moment. The female ghost continued to intimidate Jin Ke. Comrade Gui Duxiu, please start your performance and tell me your story. Jin Ke was not in a hurry. It is better not to exorcise the demon too quickly, so as not to make the customer feel that it is too easy. I am not interested in telling my story to an end like you. My story can be told for hundreds of millions of years. Are you worthy of listening? The female ghost said with great disdain. Go to hell. Seeing that the female ghost was unwilling to reveal more information, Jin Ke directly started the soul battle, summoned the white giant falcon and used the soul-related secret technique of Samadhi true fire. Just wait. I will make you look good. The female ghost suddenly exploded. The battle of spirits ended, and Jin Ke won. Yu on the bed stopped howling and opened her eyes. Okay, you help her up, Jin Ke said to Bo and Zhang Mengdai. Dad, after Yu was helped up by Bo and Zhang Mengdai, she saw Yu Qian sitting opposite the bed and called out to him weakly. Hu, are you okay? Yu Qian, who had been sitting there steadily, rushed over after hearing Yu's cry, and looked at her with concern. I had a lot of nightmares, and they were so noisy in my dreams. They are. Yu looked at Bo, Zhang Mengdai and Jin Ke. They are your benefactors and saved your life. Yu Qian really didn't expect that those so-called highly skilled monks, Taoist priests, and godfathers could not handle things that were easily handled by a teenager. It's true that you can't judge a person by his appearance, and you can't measure the sea by a bucket. Hey, shouldn't you apologize to us? Bo asked Yu Qian relentlessly. I will prepare a banquet later and formally apologize to you all. Yu Qian was grateful to Jin Ke for curing his daughter Liu. He would not be angry no matter what they said. Now his only worry was whether the treatment was thorough and whether the disease would relapse. But everything at present at least showed that this young man was really capable. Of course, such a person should be made friends with, not offended. In case his daughter's disease relapsed in the future, he would have to ask this young man to perform exorcism. That's more or less. He was quite satisfied with Liu Qian's attitude. Master Jin, my daughter is so weak, it should be that her soul is seriously damaged. I wonder if you can help her treat it? You will definitely reward her handsomely. Yu Qian bowed to Jin Ke and made another request. Okay, I'll try, but I can't guarantee success. Jin Ke thought about it and agreed. The client introduced by the studio should not be too bad. Since he said he would reward her handsomely, there should be a lot of small money, right? Jin Ke tried to transfer some energy into Liu's body. After a few cycles, he cleared the remaining poison in Liu's body. His cultivation of the second level of energy even helped Liu open up an energy gate. Yu, who was originally extremely weak, suddenly became energetic. She said she was hungry and ate a lot of snacks. Then she was able to get out of bed and walk, just like a normal person. Yu Qian had some doubts about Jin Ke in his heart, but they were completely dissipated at this time. At noon, the Liu mansion held a banquet. Jin Ke was honored to sit at the head of the table. Yu Qian called all his important brothers in Huang City to the banquet. Yu Qian publicly apologized to Jin Ke and gave him a check of 5 million yuan as a reward for Jin Ke's exorcism, which was 3 million more than the 2 million he had promised before. It seemed that he was really sincere. This Master Jin is the great benefactor of my Liu family. From now on, if he has any orders for you, it will be regarded as my order. No one shall disobey. Yu Qian held Jin Ke's hand and spoke to his younger brothers. Master Jin, Yu Qian's younger brothers seemed to be very disciplined at ordinary times. After hearing Yu Qian's words, they all saluted Jin Ke and called him Master. Although it felt strange to be called Master Jin, it was like going back to the pre-liberation period. But it felt good to be complimented by so many people, so Jin Ke decided to appreciate Liu Qian's kindness. If you want to make a good living in the real world, but don't want to be too ostentatious, it would be better to get to know some people like Liu Qian and let him solve problems on your behalf. After a banquet, the Liu family father and daughter were very attentive to their benefactor, and the relationship between the two sides really became close. After the banquet, Liu Qian even proposed to become sworn brothers with Jin Ke. Jin Ke did not refuse. If you want to make a good living in the real world, you need to have some connections. After the initial victory, he earned 5 million and met a big boss. Jin Ke was very satisfied with the result of this exorcism. The two beautiful followers each received a tip of 10,000 yuan, which was enough to buy a lot of snacks. Of course, they were very happy. On the way back, they urged Jin Ke to take them with him if there was such a good thing in the future. After driving back to Villa number 17, the game server was still under maintenance. Jin Ke looked at the exit game option in the field of view menu, hesitated for a long time, and still did not try to exit the game. Who knows what will happen after exiting the game? Will he be unable to log into the game again due to server maintenance and lose all his current superpowers? This state is good now. He can use the abilities in the game to make money and improve his wealth and social status. Even if the game is never opened again in the future, Jin can live a comfortable life. Wasn't his original intention of playing this game to make a lot of money and protect Xue'er to grow up happily and healthily? Curiosity kills the cat. Jin is not stupid. Before he understands the situation, it is better not to quit the game. After the exorcism is done, it is a good opportunity to spend some time with Xue'er. In order to survive in the game and become stronger in the game, Jin has been playing the game day and night, and he has no time to spend with Xue'er. Now that he can't log into the game, he has many abilities in the game, which is enough to protect himself. Of course, he has to use this time to spend more time with Xue'er. Thank you for your hard work these days. Jin Ke expressed his gratitude to Luo Ye. It's not hard. Xue'er is very well behaved and never cries. It's easy to take care of her, and I am very happy with her. How can there be such an easy and happy job? Luo Ye disagreed with Jin Ke's point of view. It was sunny outside today, and it was not very hot. Jin Ke decided to take Xue'er for a walk in the community. Chapter 423 Blue Sky. In the past, Jin Ke was very worried that Xue'er would be seen by others and their relationship would be investigated, so he never dared to take Xue'er outside. Now it's different. He is already strong enough. He dare not say anything else, but he can guarantee one thing, that is, from now on, no one can take Xue'er away from him. If someone dares, he will not hesitate to use any means. For example, let Ji Mengan go to silence him. If the ugly Ji Mengan can't handle it, send the handsome Ji Mengan. There are also Shan Yao and Xuan Yu and Meng. There are many more ugly men, ugly women, handsome men, and beautiful women that no one has ever seen. Jin pushed the stroller and took a walk in the community with Luo Ye. The Wheel and Home community is really good. It has built various artificial landscapes such as fountains, lawns, and rockery. It looks like a park. However, it is still far worse than Liu Mansion, and it belongs to public green space landscape. Jin feels that in the future, he will also be a man like Liu Qian, with a huge industry, a huge house, and countless subordinates. He didn't dare to have such a fantasy before. But now it's different. If the skills and props in the game don't disappear, sooner or later he will surpass Liu Qian and become the man at the top of the food chain. Today is Sunday. Two girls came out of the inner layer of the villa community after lunch, carrying bags on their backs and preparing to go shopping. They bumped into Jin Ke and Luo Ye, who were pushing a baby stroller. One of the girls was stunned when she saw Jin Ke, and then she looked at the baby stroller pushed by Jin Ke. Xue'er. The girl looked extremely excited and rushed towards the baby stroller, her eyes red in an instant. Hey, you! Luo Ye instinctively blocked the girl, worried that the stranger would hurt Xue'er. Although she had some impression of this girl, it seemed that she had seen her somewhere. After being stalked by Luo Ye, the girl looked at Jin Ke again. Jin Ke looked at the girl for a while, pushed Xue'er and walked away. The girl rushed over and grabbed Jin Ke's arm, wanting to say something but stopping, her eyes even redder. I know who you are. You are Xue'er's mother. I saw you on his phone. Luo Ye suddenly remembered. The girl was indeed Xue'er's mother, Luo Ye. Xue'er in the stroller also saw Luo Ye, and clapped her hands to Luo Ye with a smile. Xue'er. Luo Ye threw herself into the stroller, sobbing. Xue'er reached out and grabbed Luo Ye's face, babbling something in her mouth. Li Xungsun, the girl with Luo Ye, seemed to realize something, and she looked around in panic. The family is finally reunited. They miss you very much. Dad often plays the songs sung by Mom for Xue'er. Luo Ye also wiped her tears excitedly, and then looked at Jin Ke. Jin Ke had a blank expression on his face. Luo Ye picked up Xue'er from the stroller, hugged her tightly in his arms and kissed her again and again. Miss, let's go over there. Luo Ye walked over and grabbed Li Xungsun, forcibly pulling her away. No, Ye, you can't. Li Xungsun wanted to say something, but was forcibly pulled away by Luo Ye. Luo Ye held Xue'er and sat down on a bench by the roadside, looking at Xue'er all the time, his eyes full of love. Jin Ke stood there with the baby carriage, motionless, like a sculpture. Why are you standing so far away? Come and sit. Luo Ye calmed down and called out to Jin Ke. Jin Ke hesitated for a moment, but still walked over and sat down on the bench. Are you angry with me? Luo Ye spoke again after a long while. No. Jin Ke looked at Luo Ye beside him. She was still as beautiful as before. She was the first girl he liked in his life, and it was because of her that all other beautiful girls were eclipsed in his eyes, making him lose all interest in them. She hadn't contacted him for so long, and he thought he had forgotten her. But when he saw her, he realized that he hadn't, that ignorant relationship was just sealed up by him. My brother has monitored all my movements and communication devices. Once I contact you, he can use some means to find you and Xue'er, and then put you in jail and take Xue'er away from you. Luo Ye looked worried. Your brother, he is just like a joke, and he just said these words to scare you who are too naive. Jin Ke sneered. He will really do that. I don't want any of you to get hurt. Luo Ye became a little anxious. Luo Ye, you are really too kind, too simple, and even a little stupid. Jin Ke sighed. Luo Ye stopped talking, and seemed to be a little angry about what Jin Ke said. Jin Ke stopped talking, leaning on the bench and looking at the blue sky. Why are you here? Finally, Luo Ye spoke first. She saw that Jin Ke beside her was wearing a brand name, and his temperament was very different from before. How to say it? His slightly immature face before, now has the vicissitudes of a mature man. His body became stronger, and his eyes were no longer melancholy, but more calm and firm. I live here now. Jin continued to look at the sky. Luo Ye seemed to remember something. Surprised, Jin smiled. No. When did you live here? Luo Ye carefully recalled the two dreams, and now she even began to doubt whether she was dreaming again. That night, I came here after leaving Yunfu City with Xue'er. Jin answered Luo Ye. So that's it. Luo Ye fell into deep thought. Why are you here? Jin asked Luo Ye back. My brother was afraid that I would contact you, so he sent me here a few days after you left. Luo Ye answered Jin. Interesting. Afraid of contacting me, but sent you directly to the vicinity of my residence. It's really a god's assist. Jin continued to sneer. The one who was with me just now was my sister-in-law's cousin, who was specifically monitoring me, afraid that you would come to me. Luo Ye looked at Luo Ye and Li Xungsun in the distance. Your brother is overthinking. There was nothing between us originally, but he made it seem like there was something going on. Jin was speechless. You better not bring Xue'er to be seen by him, otherwise. Luo Ye was still very worried. Ha 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 ha. Let him come. Jin laughed. Luo Ye didn't know what to say after hearing what Jin said. Jin is indeed different now. He used to be a mild-mannered otaku, but now he makes her feel a little domineering, like a stranger. Chapter 424 Nursery Rhyme. The night he left, he came to my house and said a lot of things to me, all kinds of intimidation and threats. Jin looked into the distance. Is there such a thing? What did he say to you? Luo Ye frowned. That night, I remember every word he said to me clearly. Jin narrowed his eyes. What did he say to you? Luo Ye became a little anxious. He asked me how I had tricked you into being with you, and even got you to give birth to a child for me. He asked me if I had known the background of the Luo family before doing all this, and if I knew the consequences of doing so. He asked me if I knew how big the gap between you and me was. He told me that you and I were not suitable, and even if we had a child, we would never be together in the future. He told me not to have any illusions about you. He also said that even if I was given 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or 100 years, I would never be worthy of you. He said that he had brought you up, and since things had already happened, he would no longer pursue anything, and he would give me some compensation, whether it was money or something else. The exchange condition was that after this, I could no longer look for you. In addition, he would take Xue'er away, if I did not agree to his conditions. He threatened me that he would drive me to a dead end. Jin Ke repeated to Luo Ye word by word what Luo Ye had said to him that night. He would never forget that night's escape. How did you choose? Luo Ye was silent for a long time before speaking. Me? Choice? I just think your brother is ridiculous. He didn't even figure out that there is no relationship between us, and he negotiated all kinds of conditions and broke us up. Your brother is a self-satisfied and self-righteous person. I don't want to explain too much to a mentally retarded person like him, and he doesn't need me to do anything. With his IQ, it's just that he inherited the Luo family's industry and made him prosperous for a while. His future can't always be smooth. Sooner or later, he will hit his head and bleed, and even implicate everyone in the Luo family. Jin Ke sneered. My brother may be a little self-righteous, but he is not as stupid as you say. I don't want you to curse him and the Luo family like that. Luo Ye looked at Jin Ke with some depression. Of course, at this time, she didn't know that her brother Luo Ye owed usury, and she didn't know that within the next week, all the industries and houses of the Luo family would be occupied by others. Maybe, but don't worry about Xue'er and me anymore. You have your own way to go, and we have our own way to go. Thank you for the help you gave me and Xue'er. I will find a chance to repay you for the favor you owe me. Jin Ke took Xue'er back from Luo Ye's arms. You are still angry with me. Luo Ye's eyes were full of tears. You are wrong. I have never been angry with you, not before and not now. I used to like you very much, and I can even say that I was obsessed with you when I was young. I used to hope that we could form a family in the future and live happily with Xue'er, but some things cannot be forced. Since it has passed, let it pass. Jin Ke heard Luo Ye defending her brother just now, and knew that she would not abandon her family and go with him. Then, it was time for him to let go. Just now, the girl who was with you ... She seemed to be very close to Xue'er. Luo Ye looked lonely. Thanks to her, Xue'er and I have survived these days. Jin Ke was always grateful to Luo. Let me hug Xue'er again. Luo Ye's tears kept flowing. Jin Ke hesitated for a moment and handed Xue'er to Luo Ye's arms. The dark sky is low, and the bright stars are following insects fly. Insects fly, who are you missing? Luo Ye hugged Xue'er and sang a nursery rhyme. Xue'er looked very happy and peaceful in Luo Ye's arms. This song was very familiar, and Jin Ke suddenly remembered something. It seemed that he had heard Luo Ye singing this song during his coma on the night when he was tied to the life and death stake as a scapegoat. If Luo Ye hadn't sung this song again, Jin Ke would have found it difficult to recall what happened that night. He had never heard her sing this song before, so how could he dream of her singing this song that night? A feeling of déjà vu and seeming to be true. It was like going to a place you had never been to, but feeling familiar everywhere. The stars in the sky are crying, and the roses on the ground are withering. The cold wind blows, the cold wind blows. As long as you are with me the insects fly and the flowers sleep. Only pears are beautiful. I am not afraid of the dark, but I am afraid of heartbreak. No matter how tired I am, no matter east, south, west or north. Liu Zioxi and Li Xungsun had returned to the two of them without knowing when. Li Xungsun tried to come forward and pull Luo Ye away several times, but was stopped by Liu Zioxi. Finally, Jin Ke picked up Xue'er from Luo Ye's arms and put her in the stroller, and left alone. Is she Xue'er's mother? On the way back, Liu Zioxi asked Jin Ke. She could see that Jin Ke was not in a good mood. You can say that, but it won't be the case in the future. Jin Ke was absent-minded. Broken up? We have never been together, so there is no such thing as breaking up. Jin Ke shook his head. Why did you separate from her? Isn't it good to take care of Xue'er together? Liu Xiaoxi felt a little strange. She saw that Luo Ye was very sad when she left, and she also saw that Jin Ke was not in a good mood. She didn't understand why they loved each other but couldn't be together. The flowers are affectionate, but the water is ruthless. She was with me before only because of Xue'er. From the beginning, I just had a one-sided love for her. Jin Ke sighed. Do you think so? Why do I feel that she has feelings for you? Liu Xiaoxi didn't quite agree with Jin Ke's statement. You don't understand the situation. Jin Ke smiled bitterly. Didn't you hear the nursery rhyme she sang just now? Liu Xiaoxi enlightened Jin Ke. I heard it. Jin Ke didn't quite understand what Liu Xiaoxi meant. You fool, she didn't sing this song for Xue'er, but for you. Liu Xiaoxi stretched out her finger and tapped Jin Ke's forehead. Singing for me? Jin Ke still didn't quite understand. The dark sky is low, with bright stars following. Insects are flying. Insects are flying. Who are you missing? These two sentences are expressing my longing for you. Liu Xiaoxi began to explain to Jin Ke. You are really ridiculous? It's obviously about missing Xue'er. Jin Ke rolled his eyes. The stars in the sky are crying and the roses on the ground are withering. The cold wind blows. Cold wind blows. As long as you are with me. How do you explain these two sentences? She misses you and cries all day long, and when the cold wind blows, she just wants you to accompany her. If she misses Xue'er, why mention roses? What do roses represent? It's love. Insects fly and flowers sleep. Only in pairs are they beautiful. This sentence is very clear. Whether it is insects flying in the sky or flowers sleeping at night, they are perfect only in pairs. Tell me, these pairs don't refer to you and her? Could it be that they refer to her and Xue'er? I'm not afraid of the dark, but I'm afraid of a broken heart, no matter how tired or not. And I don't care about the east, south, west, north or south. She misses you, but doesn't know if you have feelings for her. No one understands her heartbreak, and for this love, she has already disregarded everything, no matter how tired or not. And I don't care about the east, south, west or north. She turned all her longing for you into this nursery rhyme and sang it to you in front of you, but you didn't understand a word. You are a piece of wood. Liu Xiaoxi finished explaining in one breath. How come I never realized that you are such a good at talking nonsense? Jin Ke looked at Liu Xiaoxi in great surprise. Chapter 425 Dinner. Don't change the subject. For Xue'er, for your past love, be brave once. I'm very good at judging people, although I've only met her twice. I think she's a good girl, a girl worthy of your love. Liu Xiaoxi was very dissatisfied with Jin Ke's attitude. Let everything go with the flow. Jin Ke was silent for a while before answering Liu Xiaoxi. Why do you have to do this? Since you love each other, you should be together. You're driving me crazy. Liu Xiaoxi was so angry that she wanted to punch Jin Ke twice. The world is changing, and people will change too. The unforgettable feelings of the past may become indifferent after a period of time. Jin Ke shook his head. Don't say these meaningless words. Do you still love her? Even if you have changed your mind now, you should think about Xue'er. Liu Xiaoxi held Jin Ke. If two people really love each other, no external force can separate them, and they will be together sooner or later. If they are not destined to be together, it is meaningless to force them. From the beginning, the initiative was in her hands. Love or not love is her choice, not mine. Jin Ke answered Liu Xiaoxi. Alas. Liu Xiaoxi sighed, and finally said nothing. Luo's house. Luo Ye's bedroom. Don't cry. What happened? Li Zengxin took a tissue to wipe Luo Ye's tears and asked her. What happened? It's the result you want very much. Now you can be satisfied and relieved. Luo Ye answered Li Zengxin. Yi, I admit that I took my cousin's bribes and followed you to pretend to be friends with you and monitor you. However, in the past few months, you have always cared about me and taken care of me. You really treat me as a friend, and I don't want to do anything to let you down. Tell me the truth. Do you really love him? Do you want to be with him? Li Zengxin lowered his voice and asked Luo Ye a few questions. What's the point of love? He is a boy with a strong self-esteem. I didn't know that my brother had secretly found him behind my back and had a conversation with him. Those words were too hurtful. And I was too cowardly. After being threatened by my brother, I didn't take the initiative to contact him for several months. It's not surprising that he doesn't want to see me again. Luo Ye shook his head. That is to say, he will never contact you again in the future? Li Xingsun was relieved. Luo Ye lowered his head and didn't answer Li Xingsun. Yi, in fact, there are many excellent boys around us. I think the relationship between you and him is just an impulse of youth. There is no foundation at all, and it can't last long. Although it is not a feudal society now, it is still necessary to be well matched. Otherwise, the living habits, outlook on life and values of the two people are very inconsistent, and problems will arise sooner or later. In fact, can you go out? I want to be alone. Luo Ye stopped Li Xingsun from continuing. Alas, anyway, I won't tell my cousin what happened today, even though I feel sorry for my cousin. Yi, it's useless for me to say these things. You still have to think it through yourself. Li Xingsun sighed and left Luo Ye's room. Luo's house. Luo Ye's bedroom. Gu Jiao was holding her 2-year-old son and playing the piano when her cell phone rang. It was Luo Ye calling. Notify Yizi and Xingsun and ask them to attend a dinner. Choose formal dresses for them. Bring them here in person at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Luo Ye's voice was very noisy. So urgent? What dinner? Gu Jiao looked at the time. It was already past 3 in the afternoon. It's held at our Luotian hotel. It's the birthday party of the second son of the Ling family. I tried my best to get it. Luo Ye answered Gu Jiao. Ling family? Let them go? Did the second son of the Ling family send an invitation? Yes, the second son of the Ling family, Ling Jie, is in the same school as Yizi and Xingsun. He likes Yizi very much. The Ling family is well off. This is a chance for Yizi and him to get to know each other better. Maybe it will lead to something good. Luo Ye hesitated for a moment before answering Gu Jiao. Yizi is still young. Isn't it too early for this? Gu Jiao didn't expect Luo Ye to have such a plan. Not young anymore. She will be 18 years old in a few months. The Ling family is well off, with strict family education. The younger generation of the Ling family is also very well educated. The Ling family can definitely take good care of Yizi. I feel more at ease to entrust her to the Ling family. Luo Ye was silent for a long time before answering Gu Jiao. Why do I feel that your tone of voice is not right? Gu Jiao asked Luo Ye very sensitively. Don't worry about it, just do what I say. Luo Ye seemed angry and his tone became very tough. Okay, the dinner starts at 6 o'clock. I'll take them to Luotian Hotel before 5:30 in the evening. Although Gu Jiao was worried, she couldn't ask any more questions. Ling Jie's birthday party? We were invited at school, but Yizi didn't want to go and had already declined. Li Xingsun explained the situation to Gu Jiao after hearing what she said. This time it's your brother-in-law's order. You have to go. Tell Yizi for me. Gu Jiao couldn't force Luo Ye, so she could only let Li Xingsun do the work. You don't want to match them up, do you? Ling Jie openly pursued Luo Ye, but was rejected by Luo Ye. All the teachers and students in the school know that I can't persuade Luo Ye about this, and she is in a bad mood now, and she locked herself in the room. Li Xingsun looked very embarrassed. I paid you to come here, didn't I just want to play a role at the critical moment? What have you given me in return? You can't do even a little thing. What else can I expect from you? Gu Jiao was angry. Don't be angry, cousin. I'll try to persuade her. Li Xingsun had no choice but to agree. Ling Jie, I won't go. Luo Ye really rejected Li Xingsun. Just go to the dinner and deal with it. No one is forcing you to say or do anything. The Luo family and the Ling family have business dealings. If you don't go, it will make the Ling family lose face. It will affect the relationship between the Luo family and the Ling family, and affect the business of the Luo family. Li Xingsun persuaded Luo Ye. Luo's business? Luo's business is naturally managed by my brother. I don't need to do anything. Luo Ye still shook her head, and she looked very upset. Yizi, please, if you don't go, I will be very embarrassed. I may be driven back to my hometown. I am used to the life here. I don't want to go back to the countryside. Please help me, okay? Li Xingsun begged Luo Ye. Is it my sister-in-law who forced you? What exactly do she and my brother want to do? Let her come and tell me in person. Luo Ye frowned. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.